Welcome everyone to day 3 of the Databank Retirement Tour. And I would like to just say thank you to everybody who has participated in the poll. I will leave it open while I say the introductions, and then once we are done and we're ready to start, I will actually share the results of the poll for everybody to see. But my name is Jillian Hammer, and I'm the Group Chief Marketing Officer at Databank. And the retirement tour is something we've been doing for several years now, because it is something that is so near and dear to our hearts that we believe it is something that everybody should be preparing for. So today's session is to help you. It is to get you answers to any questions that you need so that you're better prepared for retirement. And not only you, but your family and your friends, because we hope that whatever you learn here, you will also take and share with others. So I would like to ask Emma Somia Kwao, she is one of our heads of sales, to just say the opening prayer and then we will continue.
Okay, shall we pray? Almighty and ever-living God, we are grateful unto you for yet another day. We thank you for what you've done for us for the past 2 days. And we thank you for a wonderful day 3. We pray that may this meeting be of a great success. So at the end, we will say, thank you, Lord. And we know that at the end of this meeting, you will help us to plan well for our retirement. This and many we've asked through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Emma. So to get started, the first thing that we'll do is we'll share the results of the poll that everybody just participated in. You will see it on your screen. We asked 4 questions, and the questions that we asked, number 1 was, how old is everybody in the meeting? The majority of you are actually between ages 30 and 39. And then the next highest group is ages 20 to 29. And that's a really good thing actually for today, because what it means is that you have time to take advantage of some of the lessons that we share. Then the second question that we asked was, what age do you want to retire? Most of you said age 60. And then, so 58% of you said age 60 and 35% said before age 60. So it means that we don't have a lot of time to put into place what we're learning today. Then we also asked, how much money do you need on a monthly basis to retire comfortably in today's CDs? And the responses were, in fact, 70, if I combine the second and the third, 71% of you said you need anywhere between $1,000 and $10,000 a month to retire comfortably. Then 26% of you said you need over $10,000 to retire comfortably. And then a few of you said you can survive on less than $1,000. So, and then the last question was, how much money do you already have invested towards retirement? And most of you had less than 10,000. So it shows that we all want to retire. We want to retire earlier than age 60, if possible. We certainly want upwards of 5,000 to 10,000 or even more on a monthly basis when we retire, but we don't have a whole lot yet. So we've got work to do. So with that, I welcome you all. And I will just give you an idea of what to expect. So today we will, as soon as I'm done, we'll have Kojo Addae-Mensah, who is the CEO of Databank, come up and share a few thoughts with you on why it is important to prepare for retirement. Then that will be followed by a representative from SSNIT, who will also share a little bit about the 3-tier structure, how to calculate your pension payment, and those things. And then we have a special friend who will also come and share his story about preparing for retirement. Then we'll have a general Q&A. In between, we have a few giveaways as well, airtime and some gift vouchers. So stay tuned so that you can participate in that. But with that, I would just like to say thank you and welcome once again, and introduce Kojo, who needs very little introduction actually. But for those of you who don't know, he has over 20 years of banking experience, and that combines commercial banking and investment banking experience. And then he loves children, so he helps a lot of kids with their schooling, and he loves football. And so for those of you who are football lovers, some of you may have seen him on GTV, where he appears quite regularly. So I would like to welcome Kojo, and we'll get started. Thank you. Sorry, we're doing a bit of movement today. One moment.
Edmund. Okay, hi everybody, and welcome again to day 3 of our retirement series. This is something we started about 5 years ago, and it's grown in leaps and bounds. Every year we get overwhelming feedback, and it gives us a lot of inspiration and belief that we are on the right track, and we are trying and doing our best to educate Ghanaians on this very, very important topic that a lot of people take for granted and only realize when it's pretty much too late. But I would like to thank you all for joining. I am aware some people have had a bit of issue trying to log in. I hope, and I apologize for that. I'm not sure where the issue is coming from, but please try again till you are able to log in and be stable. So we have some time spent already. From our experience. When it's Q&A time, it never seems to stop. So enough for intros. Let me go right into a few slides I'd like to share with you. Okay. So, sorry. Okay. So today today's theme, or this year's theme for our retirement series, is do you know your retirement number? And by that, what we're actually trying to say is, do you know the amount of money that you need to regularly invest or put able to retire the way you want to retire comfortably? Everybody's definition of retiring comfortably is different. I remember a couple of years ago, somebody says his idea of retirement is just to get some little place, I think in Elmina, where he can always go to the beach and sit down and have coconuts and just watch the fishermen. Another person too says they want to be able to travel around the world, so everybody has a different idea of how they want to retire. But the important thing is know how you want to retire, and then know what is required for you to be able to achieve that. It's not just simply saying this is what I want. And I'm sure in the polls, a lot of you have put figures that you like to earn monthly in there. But do you know how to get to that number? Do you know how to earn that monthly number? And while we go through today, you start beginning to realize what it is that you require to hit that number. So really, the theme today is, do you really know your retirement number? And we'll take you through some calculations and some numbers for you to know exactly what to do to achieve that number. So many years ago, I think for me until recently, unfortunately, some people still think that their children are their retirement plan, and that the more children they have, then the higher the probability that one or two of the children would be looking after them in retirement. I would like to think that that phenomenon is fast fading away as our lifestyles tend to change and move towards what I call the Western lifestyle, where our extended family system seems to be waning and waning and waning. That the strength we had in where, you know, a cousin's cousin, and everybody is looking after each other, I think is going away. And I like to say that when we were growing up, especially those of us born in the 70s, but I'm glad that majority of our participants today are in their 20s and 30s. But for your information, maybe most of you went into creches. We didn't have any creche. In fact, those who are older than I am, those who are in the 60s and 50s, probably went straight into class 1 or standard, whatever they were going into. Today we have creches. Why? Because the lifestyle is changing and we need to be in a rush to find somewhere to, I would use the word, dump our children so that we are able to go and work and make ends meet. There was nothing like creche in the 70s. Now it is the in thing, and people are having to start putting their kids away at even age 6 months for others to start looking after them so they can find a place to work and make ends meet. I am predicting that in a few years' time, not too long, and I think it has started, we'll be having old people's homes. Your kids will not be your retirement investments. Your kids will be dropping you and dumping you at old people's homes. You'll be lucky if they visit you. And so I think it is time for us to take charge of our own retirement and to take charge of our own future and not have a situation where our children who will be so busy struggling to make ends meet and not minding us. And even if they don't mind us, at least from today, I hope that you would have a plan to be able to, you know, secure your future, so to speak. Because I can tell you that today, some of you are even graduating from school. Maybe you have a job or you barely have a job and you're still living with your parents. So imagine if your kids are also going to have to live with you on your pension. Will you be ready for that situation? Will you be having enough to be able to look after yourself and also look after your kids? So it's very, very important that we start taking this matter very, very seriously. And like Gillian said while during the introduction, you know, I've worked in quite a couple of places, but this phenomenon really hit me when I was at GCB Bank. And we all know that GCB Bank is one of the places where most pensioners draw their pension from, because they are spread so widely across the country. Even if while you were working, GCB was not your bank, maybe you are retiring to, you know, some region or district that does not have what your normal bank was. It will definitely have a GCB. So you tend to see a lot of pensioners coming through GCB. And while I was there, the shock that I could see in people's faces, the bewilderment that shows on people's faces when they come in, especially for their first or second check. Sometimes they are in so much shock that we have to find a place for them to, you know, sort of rest, calm down. People with BPs, people with diabetes, all in total shock. And I began to investigate why this was happening. And I found out that a lot of the time, the problem was ignorance. Ignorance of what the pension was all about. Ignorance of the law, ignorance of how it is calculated, ignorance of what to do and how to plan, and bad advice. A lot of the time, I like to use the business route where a pensioner is told, oh, when you go on retirement, do poultry, is very good. Or go and establish what we call a pure water factory, is very good. And because we've been working all these years, you work 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, you don't really even have time to have picked up any skills along the way to research what is required to go into poultry. So at age 61, you dump all your pension into your poultry, and overnight some disease strikes, and that's all your pension down the drain. It happens. So you really need to take good advice from professionals. be it financial, or if you want to go into agronomy, or you want to go into whatever you want to go into. Just don't listen to a friend because they say it is good. Oh, I hear and I hear. It's not good enough. You've got to research and you've got to talk to the professionals in the business. But ignorance for me is huge. And I hope today, together with my partner from SSNIT, we'll be able to educate you appropriately so that you take the right decisions. So why is today's discussion so important? And I'll share some numbers with you, extremely important numbers, and take your time and write them down. It's mind-boggling. So research suggests that 2 out of every 100 people who will retire, only 2 will retire comfortably, just 2. And in fact, when you start looking at numbers right now, that figure 2 is trending towards 1. I think 2 years ago, our theme for the retirement of the 2, that was the theme. Because when you all want to retire comfortably, but really the research is suggesting that out of every 100, only 2 are going to achieve that. Are you one of the 2? But our aim on our mission here is to increase that number from 2 to 10 to 20 to 15, so that more and more Ghanaians take retirement seriously and can retire comfortably. 23 will continue working, and you bear me out that you do see a lot of elderly people running around trying to make ends meet because they need to just have continue working. Otherwise, they can't keep body and soul together. And sometimes people will tell you, oh, I'm just doing it to occupy myself, to keep busy, to keep the mind working. Sometimes it's true, but most of the time, they need to work to keep body and soul together. And the rest will be dependent on relatives, charity, and SSNIT. And I would like to say that a lot of the time, most pensioners go out cursing SSNIT, blaming SSNIT, and ask for SSNIT this, ask for SSNIT that. SSNIT work by law, and my colleague will come out and show you what it is they do. It is by law, and the calculation is there. They've done nothing wrong. There's a lot of the time, it's us. While we are working, we are on allowances and allowances and allowances upon allowances, forgetting that your SSNIT is calculated only on your basic. So you position yourself, or you get used to a lifestyle that you can't sustain when you get into retirement, and the shock sometimes, unfortunately, kills you before your time. So that said, I'd like to draw your mind to the fact that currently we are on a new Pensions Act. Act 766, I think, is amended to 883, which has created a 3-tier pension scheme. So on your screen, you can see tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1 is what is currently now administered by SSNIT, which is like the government's safety net, and you can see the percentage of your basic salary that goes in there. Out of the 13.5, 2.5% goes to national health insurance. And at this point, I'll quickly add that if you haven't registered for the national health insurance, I'll encourage you to do so, because if you're a salaried worker, you're already paying for it. So if you're already paying for it, I don't see why you shouldn't go for it. I have it. It doesn't matter whether your firm has a medical plan for you. It's still important that you take it, because you never know where you find yourself, and you may not have enough cash on you, and you can draw on the national health insurance. So tier 1 is fully administered by SSNIT, and tiers 2 and 3 is where the private sector comes in, and that is where the new law really came in. So you will see that tier 2 then has corporate trustees, so tier 2 and 3, they have corporate trustees, and they have fund managers like Databank, who must be properly registered by the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Please be careful who you are dealing with. It's important that when you're on tier 2 or 3, you are dealing with a properly registered corporate trustee, a properly registered fund manager, and who will take you through the proper way of doing tier 2 and 3. So the percentages you contribute are, as you see, for tier 2 is 5% of your basic, and tier 3 is, I like to just, for education purposes, say it's what we used to call the Providence Fund when you create your own Providence Fund within your own company and have your rules in there. But now it's been properly structured and a law has been wrapped around it. So in the formal sector, you can contribute up to 16.5 of your basic, and there are tax benefits there. A lot of the time, your employers don't want to go there because it could be a cost to them. But even with tier 3, it's a negotiation. You can decide that employees will contribute all the 16.5, or employer will contribute half, or employer will contribute 40%, and then employee contributes another. But it can go up to 16.5. You don't always have to be at 16.5. At Databank, we didn't start off with 16.5. I think we were at about 12 or so, and we've gradually moved up and up to 16. If you are in the informal sector, you can actually contribute up to 35%. And those of you in the informal sector, I'm really talking to you. You always think that you can work till the last day and just die. Yes, there are people who have had that luxury or that blessing. But there are people too in the informal sector who by age 50, 51 are knocked off by one ailment or the other, or one reason or the other, and can't work anymore. What is your safety net? Your kids may even still be in school. The kids that you thought will be your retirement plan will still be in school. What do you do then? It's important that you put something aside. You really, really need to have something aside. Otherwise, you find yourself wanting, and you find yourself not ready when the time is due. So the next slide there is just back to focusing on just SSNIT for a moment. But it's just to bring your mind to the fact that if you don't do something within tier 2, tier 3, or you don't have an alternative, you could be in trouble. Look at this number very carefully. The average, this is June 2020, average pension paid by SSNIT, 957 cedis. June 2020. The lowest was 312, the highest was 118,871. Now go down slightly and look at the numbers for November 2019. The lowest is still 312, the highest 111,000, giving an average of 841. December 2018, lowest 312, the highest 51,269, giving an average of 739. So what I'm drawing your mind to is, even though you see that the highest paid has more than doubled, your average payout is still very, very little. It's just moved 739, 841, 957, which tells us that a lot of us are in a very low income bracket. And if we are not planning properly, we will be coming out in shock, like I used to see pensioners when I was working with GCB. Now, I am informed even, I think 2 days ago, that these highest monthly pensions are not even people who are working in the formal sector. These are people who were educated about pensions. They are in the informal sector, but then went in, I think, for voluntary pension and are able to draw this amount. Later on, the SSNIT rep will tell you that under Act 766, which is the new act, there are caps now. There is no way those of us who were born after 1960, I think, will be earning this kind of pensions. It is capped for at tier 1 at 25,000 max, which means that if your pension right is 60%, all you get is 15,000. So that tells us that you need a plan B. If you don't have a plan B, you could end up being literally a pauper in your pension. But is that what we want? No, that's not what we want. Even though there are 1.5 million active contributors, 50%, half of them, as the average is showing you obviously, are earning less than 1,000 cedis a month. Very serious matter. By the way, the 312 I showed you, there's a subsidy of sorts from government. Those people actually earn, their pension right is less than 300 cedis, but the government tops it up for them. So that's how bad the situation is. And only 4% are earning more than 5,000 cedis. So all of you who are putting out your monthly desired pension, you are realizing that if you don't have a plan B, then what do you have? You really, really have to have a plan B. Another point I need to raise very quickly is about housing, because when we are planning for retirement, we would normally plan thinking that, okay, I need this amount monthly to live, forgetting whether we'll be renting, we'll be squatting, or we'll be pitching. And the statistics are very worrying because we don't plan for housing even. And in the last 2 days, we've had feedback that we should think about creating a product that also helps people during planning for retirement and also being able to own their own house. So if you see the statistics on your screen, you realize that owner-occupied houses for people over 60 is a very, very, very disappointing percentage there, 28.9, and it's very, very worrying. Even more worrying for me is when you add the purchase and the squatters. Then those who are living rent-free, I always say that it's most likely that they are living with an in-law, you know, and you know how it can be a nuisance living with in-laws, and then you feel unwelcome, you have come on pension, you tell yourself, hey, Ajua, after all these years that I looked after you, is this how you and your husband are treating me? You don't want that. You just want to have your peace of mind. Maybe have your grandchildren coming to visit you a couple of hours and they go. That way, it's all nice and good. But when everybody is in each other's face every day, I don't think we really, really want that. So, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, if you don't take control of your retirement now, and the time to start is now, it's never too late. It's really, really never too late. A testimony will show you that it's never too late. But the earlier you start, the better. SSNIT will tell you that the day you start working is the day you start planning for your retirement. Those of you who are 20 and 30 who have registered, congratulations to you. You've done very, very well, because in my experience, a lot of people in that age bracket just roll their eyes and say, oh, but pension is not today, cra. Well, it's a big mistake if you think it's not now. The time to start planning is really now. So, like I said in the beginning, and Jillian also said, we will show you your retirement number. We will let you know how to get your retirement number. But while you're on the conference or on the seminar, you can still visit our website, www.databankgroup.com. Go to the tools section, and at the tools section, you'll be able to see the various retirement calculators, plug in the variables, and just figure out how much it is you need to put aside to be able to hit your retirement number and to live a comfortable retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, I'd like to thank you for attending the Databank seminar series jointly with SSNIT, and I hope you will not leave us the same, and you leave us learning something, and you go out there to tell a friend, to tell a friend, tell a friend's friend that retirement is a serious matter and the time to start is now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kojo. I trust that everyone online found that very insightful, and this is only a taste of what is to come during today's session. So the next person that we have up is Edmund Sampana Diernorng. He is a branch manager with SSNIT in the Takoradi office. And he has been on with us yesterday. He will be with us again today and tomorrow. And he has a really fantastic story. And I think part of what I'll do is I'll allow him to actually share where he's come from and where he is today. But he's been with SSNIT 35 years in a number of different roles. And it just shows you that no matter where you start, there is potential for you to end up in a really good position. And in the same way that applies to life, let it apply to your retirement as well. So Edmund, if you can unmute yourself, then I would like to hand it over to you to get started. Hi, Thomas, I can see you already. We'll come to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, hi, Ed.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, then thank you very much, Julian. Thank God we had a nice day yesterday, and thanks for yet another day. So we are once again grateful for such an opportunity created by Databank, so that at least we are also able to educate the public on social security. I'm always happy with the slides of your CEO, Kojo Addae-Mensah, because it touches on the basic or the assets of the social security for everybody just right to know. Just as we always advise the members of the scheme that you're not supposed to put all your eggs in one basket. It's not actually good to do that. In finance or in investment analysis, we always believe in diversification. And so you don't only concentrate on your social security, thinking that that will be enough for your retirement period. Actually, it never works like that. And as you rightly said, I'm one of the humble guys in SSNIT. As the Bible says, never despise the humble beginnings. I was not ashamed of myself of starting with SSNIT as a messenger in the year 1984. And like I always been telling people is that it doesn't matter where you start. It matters, what matters most is where you end. And that's what the scripture also says. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning. So for those of you who are listening to us, I want to assure you that it's never late and it's never too late. But for you who are young, please, we always advise you to know that planning for your retirement starts from the day you had an employment or an appointment to work with an institution. And like I've been saying, Assemblies of God Men Ministry have a slogan. And when they say action, you respond, now, 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 now. So as we are on this program, my advice to each and every one of us is to start now, and it's never too late. So if I can start in 1984 as a messenger, and in the year 2011, I managed to climb to join the decision makers in the institution. That is 2011. And that was when I was appointed as a branch manager. And that day reminded me of the story of the biblical Joseph, who was appointed as a prime minister, but then he was a prisoner. So in the case of Joseph, which is prisoner to prime minister, in my case, it is a messenger to manager, and I give God all the glory. And I believe you all join me to give God the glory. And I want to advise each and everyone on this program that it's never too late. You can make it. All that you need to know is to consult the experts. When I joined SSNIT, I decided to learn and learn and learn and learn. And in sociology, that we normally say that no man is an island. Everyone depends on somebody. And for that matter, it's good that together we have come on this platform to share ideas as to how you plan for your retirement. It's very, very necessary. So that is how come today, by His grace, I'm on this platform as a resource person, SSNIT manager, Takoradi. I started from Boko. I was there for 2.5 years as a branch manager, and then came to Nkoko, 1.5 years. From Nkoko to Takwa, 5 years, 5 months. And by His grace, June 4th, somebody who started as a messenger in Takoradi is back to Takoradi as a manager. I hope this one, you all join me to give glory to God. I can't believe it.
We do.
But with God, all things are possible if only you believe. So believe you me, I've passed through the ranks. And I just want to come down to it for all of you who are listening to me to know that everything is possible. So please start something with Databank now. And you'll be surprised what you get tomorrow. Yesterday, I listened to Mr. Ban and I was so much impressed. Though he didn't give the credit to SSNIT, but if he had listened to experts like me, he would have had a change of mind. And that would have brought an additional investment to his. And I believe he listened to me yesterday. And he's going to advise those people who were trying to discourage him from doing the Databank, any of their products. And today, this man always, may I know, Julian, when we were at Takwa, another man also came to share his life experience with Databank. Is it the same person?
No, it's a different person.
Oh, that man too also had a nice experience.
Yes.
I wish you would bring him back also to come and share his experience, just as Mr.
We
Ban.
need to do that the next time we do our retirement tour. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, we are most grateful for such people, so that people, some people don't believe that we still have COVID-19 until those who came to tell us that, Massa, I was contracted with it and it wasn't easy. And I think we all heard Kennedy Japan who said that, Charlie, this kind of sickness there is real and we are not supposed to joke with it. The retirement is also real. Whether you like it or not, it will catch up on you. As we speak, I'm also left with some few years to go on retirement. But I speak with confidence in the sense that I have really planned well for my retirement. And I want to assure each and everyone who is listening to us that please prepare now, and your confidence level will be at the highest point and you'll never regret contributing towards the SSNIT pension scheme, and then also contributing towards the second tier of Databank, and then the third tier as well, with and with the other products, the 5 products that they've been always been mentioning of. A lot of people have given a great testimony about that. Now back to SSNIT. We all know that SSNIT is mandated to administer tier 1 of the pension scheme. Basically, we have 3 tiers. Tier 1 and tier 2 are mandatory. And then the third tier is voluntary. And of course, tier 1, which is supposed to be managed by SSNIT. Hello?
Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
tier 1 is to be managed by SSNIT. Tier 2 and tier 3 by private companies. And remember, the tier 2 is also mandatory. So if you are here and you are listening to us and your employer is paying only the tier 1, please remind him that we have Databank around which is ever ready to take your tier 2. And if you also have the tier 3, you can get that one. Maybe let me share this information with you. The maximum cap for tier 1 used to be 20,000. And it was increased to 25,000 as your basic salary. So if you have a salary of 100,000, then it means that you can only invest 13.5% of the 25,000. Then the question is, what happens to your 75,000 that is left? So in the wisdom of those who came out with this particular Act 766, brought in the tier 2, which will take the 5%, which is mandatory, and then the 75, what is left could go into tier 3, and of which Databank is always available to take your tier 3 as well. So both your occupation and then the Providence Fund, Databank is also ready to take that. Until we increase our cap, it will still remain 25,000 as your maximum salary. So the rest depends on you. And like the CEO made us to understand, you have the 35% out of it that you can also invest with the second tier and then the third tier. And of course, we all know now you need to really, as I've been saying, investigate before you invest. If you don't investigate before you invest, you end up losing your investment. I need not make mention of any institution. I think you are all aware of what has happened to our colleagues. Some have died, some are bedridden, some are, lost their job and they don't know exactly what to do because they didn't investigate before they did the investment. So for us today, we have to thank Databank for giving us all these platforms so that we share our experiences with you people. So please, if you need to invest, like I said, investigate. Where are you going to do your investigation? You need to consult the experts. When it comes to tier 1, you can consult SSNIT. We are the experts. For tier 2, tier 3, and the rest, I can assure you, consult Databank, and you are good to go.
Thank you, Edmund.
Where you invest, look at their track record. SSNIT has a track record from 1965 to date. There's no pensioner who has complained that today I didn't get my pension. It has never happened before and it will never happen. Check the track record of Databank. Madam, I think I didn't hear your track record very well. Let the people know your track record. Because I got to know of Databank when I was at the University of Ghana. And today, after working for all these years, I still hear of Databank. Then it means that this is an institution that you can really trust to invest your money with, and you will never regret. So now back to SSNIT. We have 5 major benefits that you can derive. We have the immediate and we have the long term. Remember, most of the benefits are all long term. Ghanaians normally believe from working from hand to mouth. And so the slightest problem, then they become disappointed or disorganized. So it is always necessary that whilst we are young today, we need to save something for our future. And even in our absence, spouses and children will tend to benefit. If you go to abroad, there are certain families, they never get broke. Why? Simply because they plan very well for themselves as well as the next generation. So there are certain contingencies you and I have no control over it. And so SSNIT thought it wise or deem it wise to come out with all these benefits. And the number one benefit we normally talk of is the superannuation or old age pension. Superannuation or old age benefits, which is, you can find it on the slide, page 14. On the slide, page 14. The number one benefit is what we termed old age pension or superannuation pension. And we have 2 types, that is full pension and reduced pension. The compulsory retirement age in Ghana is 60 years. That is a compulsory retirement age. Then if you are able to contribute for a minimum of 180 months, which is equivalent to 50 years, then you qualify for a full pension. And that is under the new law. Under the PNDC law 247, which is the old law, you attain the age of 60 and you contribute for a minimum of 240 months, which is equivalent to 20 years to qualify for full pension. But with our 766, the advantage over here is that since the scheme wants a lot of people to qualify for pension, it was reduced from 20 years to 50 years as the minimum contribution period for you to qualify for full pension. For the age is the same for both male and female. It's the same for both male and female. I hear some people have been confusing themselves. Sometimes we get calls from our ladies, and I don't expect Emma and Julian to call me whether in their case the age should be 55. It's the same 60 years for all of us because of Beijing. There's no difference between male and female. And I think the scripture also proved that there's neither male nor female. We are all one in Christ Jesus. So no age is no more an issue here. Then the second one is the invalidity benefit. Should someone get sick or incapacitated permanently, and we receive a medical report from a qualified medical doctor you only meet our medical board. Once you are approved of being unfit to continue with your job, irrespective of your age, you start enjoying the pension. Provided you have contributed for 12 months within the last 3 years of your contribution, or the last 36 months, you qualify to receive the invalidity benefit. And we have one guy who started the invalidity at the age, he never, for that, no other condition, no age condition because of the invalidity. And you know, I don't think anybody wants to be sick. We all want to work and attain the age of 60 and begin to enjoy our full pension. And one good thing about our pension is that once you qualify for the pension, you received our pension for life till you die. That's one good thing about our pension. Then number 3 benefits is what we call the survivor's lump sum. Survivor's lump sum. In case somebody dies on pension or in service, if a person is not able to attain the age of 60 and dies, all his benefits is calculated and paid to his beneficiaries. Some may also begin to enjoy their pension. Under Act 766, we are supposed to enjoy the pension for 15 years. After that, there will be no benefits for the beneficiaries. So if you should die at the age of, let's say, 67, then it means that 67 from 75, you have 8 more years to enjoy. And for that matter, that 8 years will be calculated and then paid to your beneficiaries. That is what we call the death on pension. It's also a survivor's lump sum, which is paid to your beneficiaries. Then we have what we also call number 4 as the old age lump sum. The old age lump sum. Some may not be able to make the minimum contribution period of 180 months. In that case, whatever that you are able to contribute within the period is put together and your contribution will be returned to you with interest. And that is the number 4 benefits that you can derive from SSNIT. Then the last but not the least is the immigration lump sum. Now we have included our expatriates guys who are here with us. So if you know them, let them know. If they don't have any pension scheme at where they are coming from, they are also supposed to join us. Now, a lot of them have understood and really they have joined us. So when they are living permanently, whatever that they have contributed plus the interest is given to them as lump sum and they move on with that one. Yeah. So that is basically the 5 major benefits that you can derive from SSNIT. But as you heard from the CEO, Kojo Addae-Mensah, once you're a member of the scheme, the 30.5% that comes to SSNIT, 2.5% goes to the NHIA. And so everybody who is a member of the Social Security Scheme qualifies for the National Health Insurance. That is an immediate benefit you can now enjoy being with SSNIT. So that is the most immediate benefits that you can also enjoy being a member of the trust. Now, people normally ask, so if we are due for our pension, what are we supposed to do? So I've already explained how do you qualify for the old age pension. And I said from page 15, those who are on the slides, page 15, you will see how do I qualify for old age pension. For those of us under the Act 766, you contribute for a minimum of 180 months and you attain the age of 64 pension. Then 55 to 59, if you think that you are tired and you can no longer continue, you come in for what you call reduced pension. So that is how you qualify for pension. Now, yesterday we also we are also able to explain the difference between PNDC Law 247 and Act 766 and where you and I, as we are listening, belongs. Those who were born from the year 1960 upward, 1960, 1st January, 61, 62, 63, till now, we all belong to the Act 766. Then those who were born 1959, December 31st downward, they all belong to PNDC law 247. But 20 years down now, this thing has now phased out. Now we are now 10 years down the lane. We are all now under the Act 766. So 247 is gradually phasing out, with the exception of those who have not yet lodged their claim. If you have not yet lodged your claim, once your age is concerned, it's really being noted for. Yeah, so that is how you qualify. Then the next question, that what must I do before retirement is due? You can get that one on page 16 for us. What must I do before retirement is due? Please just go to check on us, any nearest state office for your statement of account. Then if you have any multiple numbers, there's others who are having more than one number. We need to merge those two numbers, and then we merge the contributions within the two numbers as well. And then we make sure that you have only one SS number. Should you have any student loan to pay, please, if you can start it now, or else when you are due for your benefits, that loan will be deducted. Some have student loan and some have also guaranteed for some students. So if you have done that, you quickly work on it before your retirement. Then you have to enroll biometrically. Those who have not yet done it, please, you need to do that before we can start processing your claim. And then you make sure that you provide accurate information on your employment history. Employment history simply talks about all the institutions that you have worked with. We have people who have worked with 5, 6, 7 institutions, and of which they have contributions over there. Remember, we are saying that you don't have to get more than one SS number. So wherever that you go with the same SS number, that is the social security number. So wherever you have contributed in all these institutions will be put together. When you get the aggregate of the 180 months, then you qualify for the full pension. You need to make sure that if for the last 5 years you have not changed your beneficiaries, if I am to ask how many of us within the last 5 years we change our beneficiaries, I don't think that I will have a lot of people who have yet done that. But you don't know when death will lay its icy hands on you. When it happens like that, you leave your spouse and children at a very awkward position. So please, it is very, very necessary. As we speak, you can walk to any SSNIT office and quickly update your beneficiaries, because we don't know when death will lay its icy hands on you. There was a story, an incident which happened here. A man who died. When we checked his beneficiaries, the name that they mentioned, the spouse, the children, the opinion, and the rest all didn't know that person until a friend in an institution was contacted. And when the friend mentioned the name, when they mentioned the name to the friend said, this lady, it was a man's concubine when he started with us. So it means that the man was not married as at the time that he registered with SSNIT. And since then, he used that concubine's name on his social security as his wife. He has never changed it to date. So it was a great issue. And you know, their girlfriends, you know, they said, no, my name was, how he got to know that her name was mentioned, we can't even tell. But thank God, SSNIT, we make a provision that where the spouse and the children are not nominated, they can go for a court order. And that court order will ensure that the spouse and the children get a portion of their benefits. But you cannot rule out the one that he nominated. You understand? So please, it's very, very necessary to change your beneficiaries as early as possible before you get into such problems as well. So I believe we all learn a lesson from that. So the wife and the children, when we got to them, they stopped cursing the corpse of the husband. They were cursing the husbands for doing that. But when we explained to them and they realized they have an option, they were able to go for it. And one good thing is that if you have a child which is below 18 years, that child is termed as minor. And for that child, the Children's Act 566 gives the children or the child 60%, then the 40% that is left will be shared or distributed among the other beneficiaries. You know what happened? Another story. The man was with the wife. The man was a driver. So if you're a driver, please forgive me. Not knowing every town that the man gets to, he just makes sure that he lays some eggs. Before he leaves, he will later be called that the eggs has been hatched. And once he's a biological child, he qualifies for the 60%. So this issue happened when they were about to pay the benefits, and it ended up that that side child got 60%, only for the wife and children to take only 40%, because the children were all above 18 years. So please, when it comes to nominations, please take it serious for us. It is very, very important. Then you put in your application for benefits 3 months before you retire, so that we start preparation. And as far as the law is concerned, immediately your organization stops or you retire and receiving salary from your organization, the following month, SSNIT will have to replace that part income, because the law says partly income will be replaced by SSNIT. Now, when we go into the details on how is my pension calculated, you get to know that the maximum that you can get under Act 766 will be 60% of the average 3 years salary. Now, what we want to know, how can I get my pension for, and how long will it be paid? And that is exactly what I have explained. If you go through and you make sure that you lodge a claim 3 months before, and as you provide all these necessary information, then you are then good to go. Then the next slide has to do with how is my pension calculated? How is my pension calculated? Yeah, immediately after that, we'll give you some tips on how to plan for your retirement. And one of the important things is that you should know your benefits. You should know your benefits. And just as today we're taught by the CEO, you should know your figure. I think that's the way you say it. Know your number. Know your number.
Your retirement number. Yes.
Come again, your retirement number.
Yes, correct.
Yes, in the same vein, SSNIT, you also have to know your retirement number. If you know how the pension is calculated, you can sit in the comfort of your office, house, or wherever you find yourself and compute your SSNIT pension. And you can make projections even into the future. Then you will be able to tell when will it be appropriate for me to retire. So let's go. How is my pension calculated? 3 parameters you need to take into consideration. Number 1, your salary. Number 2, your pension right. And your pension right is determined by the number of months you contribute. Then number 3, the age retirement, or at what age do you retire? And that is what people call early retirement age. So when you know these 3 factors, then you can now start. The salary, we take your best 3 years salary, we divide it by 3. In other words, the average of your best 3 years annual salary. Then we multiply it by your pension right. The pension right, like I said, is determined by the number of months you contribute towards the scheme. I'll talk a little about that one. And then we multiply it by the early retirement factor. The early retirement factor has to do with those who want to go on what I explained earlier as reduced pension. Reduced pension in the sense that you cannot wait to attain the age of 60. You think that you are so tired. As I see somebody, especially the ladies, they get to a point, they say, no, we are tired. I think we can give an early shower. So between 55 and 59, you can decide to go on retirement. So when you want to do that, then we call it the early retirement factor. Then that one will reduce it. So at the age of 55, you can now take an early shower. So I will go further to use an example to explain. But the most question that people normally ask has to do with the pension right. That how do we calculate the pension right? So with the pension right, having the attained or contributing for a minimum of 580 months, your pension right gives you 37.5%. So the average 3 base year salary times the pension right, then times the early reduction factor. Should you retire at the age of 60, then the factor is 1. It means that it will not be reduced by any figure. So if you have done the 180 months, your pension right gives you 37.5%. And each additional year after the 180 months or the 15 years gives you 1.125%. And if you divide it by 12 on the monthly basis, you get it at 0.0937. And that is how you get. But in order not to confuse people, we have a ready reckoner to explain your pension right. So if you have done 15 years, then we peg you at 38%. If you've done 16 years, that takes you to 39%. That's the pension right. If you've done 17 years, then it takes you to 40. And it will grow to a maximum of 60%. It grows to a maximum of 60%. Then it means that you have done 35 years as your contribution, and that gives you the maximum pension right of 60% with the pension right. So then we move on to the next slide, where we try to give an example. So please, if you can move on to the next slide, we take an example, move on. No, back, let's go back a little. We take the scenario, go back a little. Example, a member is retiring at 60 years. So in this case, this person is going to get full pension, so there will not be any age reduction factor. If he had retired between 55 and 59, then when we are doing his computation, the formula will bring in the age retirement factor. So in the case of somebody who attain the age of 60, then the age retirement factor will be 1. Formula is now left with the average of his 3 base year salary times the pension right. So we'll move on. And he has contributed for a period of 250 months. 250 months. So if you subtract 180 months from the 250 months, then you will be able to know what is left for the additional 1.125% each year. Then you add it to the 37.5, that is the beginning. 180 months, remember I said, start with a pension right of 37.5%. So meaning any additional year will give 1.125%. So when you do the calculation, you realize that at the end of the day, he's going to have a pension right. This is 247. No, go to Act 766. Please, because we are all now under Act 766, I'm not doing anything on the 247. I'm moving to the 766. Yeah. So like we said, you determine the age reduction factor. The man was 60 years. And for that matter, the calculation of the pension right will be 1. The age reduction factor will be 1. Now, we say that a total number of months of contribution of 250 gives a pension right value equal to the 0.375, or in other words, 37.5% plus the total number of months of contribution. When you subtract 180 from it, you get the difference, 250 minus 180. Then you multiply it by the no, you multiply. What's the difference? Move to page so that they can also get us page 28. Page 28. Can you move the slide to page 28?
We're
Move
there.
the slide to page.
Yeah, it's there.
Very good.
Mhm.
So, like we started by saying that step one, you know that you determine the age factor. For this scenario, we said that the guy was 60 years, and for that matter, age reduction factor is 1. Any number multiplied by 1 will give you the same number. Then step 2, calculate the pension right. Remember, we said that 180 months will give you 37.5 or 0.375. If you look at what is on the screen, when you change it from percentage of 37.5, then you get 0.375. I hope that is clear. Then we are going to add the number of months that the man has done after the 180 months. So you subtract 180 months from the 250. What do you get when you subtract? Please, can you do that subtraction for us? 250 minus 180.
You get 70. 70.
70.
Yes.
So he has 70 months. 70 months in addition. So that we are going to add that 70 months increase to the 0.375. Remember the calculation that we did. We said that it is the yearly increment is 1.125. So we want to know the monthly increment. We divide it by what? By 12. And that will give us 0.09375%. If you want to change it into decimals, then you divide it by 100. That is where it will give you 0.0009375. I hope now you are seeing the difference. Initially, we're using percentages. Now we moved it into decimals. If you want to move percentage into decimal, you divide it by 100. And so when you multiply it by that one, then it will give you the additional. So when you add that additional to the 37.5, it gives you a pension right of 44.06%. So let's move down. So we've now done the computation of the pension right. Now that you have the pension right, you have the average of the 3 best year salary. Remember that one, you add year 1, year 2, year 3, and you divide it by 3, and that will give you the 54,000. Then you multiply the 54,000 by your pension right. When you multiply the 54,000 by your pension right, it gives you 23,7. It gives you 23,793.75. I think the image is covering a certain portion of it. It gives you 23,793.75. And this one is there because we use the annual salary. What we get is annual. So if we want to know monthly, then we only just divide it by 12. So 23,793.75, you divide it by 12, and that gives you the monthly pension of 1982.81. That is how you can sit in the comfort of your office, house, or wherever you find yourself, and then you can compute your pension. Remember, since we moved from PNDC law 247 to Act 766, we have a lot of members who transited from the 247 to 766. So in this case, now that the contribution rate has changed from 17.5% under PNDC law 247, now to 13.5% under Act 766. Now the question is, where is that difference? 13.75 minus 17.5, where is that difference? That difference of 4% has to do with the contribution since you joined the scheme up to December 2009. Remember, the Act 766 took effect 1st January 2010. Act 766 took effect on the 1st of January 2010. Since then, our contribution rate has now changed from 17.5% to 13.5%. Now the question is, now that it has changed, from the time that I contribute up to December 2009, where is my 4%? And that 4% is what we term as the past credit. 4% of your contributions on those years up to December 2009, all being added up, attracting the prevailing treasury bill rate, and then rolled over quarterly becomes your past credit. So for every statement of account that you receive from SSNIT, you will see one, your best 3 years salary. And then two, you can see your average best 3 years salary. Then number three, you can see the number of months that you have contributed. So with these three, you are good to go. Every statement you take from SSNIT, you can compute your pension to know how much your worth is, how much your retirement, you didn't say figure, how much your retirement number is. Then SSNIT, we are trying to borrow something from the Databank, and I believe that they won't charge me for any amount. So you also get to know your retirement number when you go, when you sit at the comfort of the office and you can do the computation yourself. So with this information, you can compute. Then the last thing you will see on your statement is your past credit. Past credit. Every statement, as we speak, you can just walk to any SSNIT nearest office. Pick your statement, and all this information that I've just mentioned, you will see it on the statement. And you will know your past credit as of today. Remember, it keeps on changing. Initially, it was 75% of the treasury bill rate, which was applied, and then it is rolled over annually. Now it has changed to 100% of the prevailing treasury bill rate, and then we roll it over on quarterly basis. So you will get a rollover 4 times in a year. And that is how the pension right is also calculated. And like I said, that one, any statement of account you receive from state will just be there for you to see. I hope I addressed the issue. Yeah, so just to wrap up, if you look at the formula that we have just discussed, what you put in actually determines what you get, or what you put in actually determines your retirement number with SSNIT, not a data bank, if I should borrow that one from them. So please, this is how you should know what your retirement number is with SSNIT. Now remember, we said that you get a maximum of 60%. Now you ask yourself, how do I get the 40%? This one, you receive it on monthly basis. We have lived on monthly basis and we are now used to it. As for the lump sum and then the past credit, to be honest with you, it doesn't stay with us for even 1 month. It either goes into another investment, and like some people have been doing, it calls for a second wife. And I want to advise all of you, please don't go for a second wife. Please make sure that you invest the money with Databank. And that is where you can get your money's worth. So it's very, very important when you are planning for a retirement to know your retirement number. You have to secondly know where would I finally settle. If you know where you will settle, then you know where you put up your houses so that you can avoid rent payment. In fact, it will be suicidal if you go on retirement and you are still in a rented premises. Your pension, as you have seen, cannot cater for that. It's better you start putting small amount of money with the data bank so that you'll be able to put up your building before you go on retirement. Then you also be able to decide when to retire. You can decide to retire at the age of 55. When you do your computations and you are okay. A certain man came to my office, I told you yesterday, 3 days ago. After I did the computation for him, as a master, I'm okay, I'll retire next. He said next month, he's coming to us for his money. Yeah, he thinks that he's good to go. Remember, the higher your salary, the higher your pension. So the man has decided when he wants to retire, which is very, very necessary. Then you also need to get other sources of income. In investment, like I said, we believe in diversification. We don't believe in putting all your eggs in one basket. If that basket goes off, then you have nothing. So with SSNIT, at least you are rest assured with your pension. Then with Databank, you are also rest assured with the other sources of income. That is where you can go in for the tier 2 and tier 3. And sometimes I even say that don't even stop at tier 3. You can go to tier 4, tier 5 tiers. Nobody will stop you. And I don't think Databank will stop you. No matter what investment that you have, you want, they are ever ready. But last and not the least, please consult the experts. Please consult the professionals. If it is your SSNIT, please either you consult me or you consult other SSNIT staff. If it is about your tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, please, I can assure you that contact, if not Mr. Kojo Addae-Mensah, then please you contact Julian or Emma. These are the few that I know. And I believe they have a lot of experts there who are ever ready to assist you to plan for your retirement. So that at the end of the day, that is all that we want. We want to have a peaceful retirement. We really want to enjoy our retirement. After going through all these years, you heard the number of years I've served, 35 years. And after 35 years, I'll still go back and then work. No, my money now should be working for me. I don't need to do that. So that I will have a meaningful pension and I have an enjoyable retirement package. On that note, I say a very big thank you for your audience. God richly bless you all.
Thank you very, very much, Edmund. Thank you. To let you all know, we'll be taking questions very shortly. So if you have a burning question, put it in the chat, but we will have a Q&A period very, very soon. Then you can ask both Edmund and Kojo all the questions that you have. So Edmund, thank you so much. We're very, very grateful for everything that you've shared. And, you know, to everybody that is listening, Edmund has said it, and another gentleman before him earlier in the week also said, start preparing for your retirement the day you start working. Don't wait until you are 50 or 55 to suddenly start thinking about what you're going to do when you're 60, because by then, it's not that you can't do it, but it will be a lot more difficult to achieve what you need to do. So the earlier you start, the better it is for you. And when we did the poll earlier at the beginning of the session, the majority of the people on this call are under 39, 20 to 29, 30 to 39. So it means that you have time.
Yes.
Don't let your time pass by and then suddenly you wake up at 50 or 51 or 52 and now you're scrambling to try and make up for lost time. And so now I actually have somebody who got caught in a very similar situation where he didn't take advantage of time to prepare for retirement partly because I don't think he had the benefit of the kind of education that we're doing today 25, 30, 35 years ago. So with that, I would like to introduce Mr. Thomas Ba. We met him last year when we were doing the retirement tour, and he was one of the facilitators in Hope. And at the time, he'll share his story, but at the time, he was really, really in a tight situation. And I'm thankful that between last year and this year, his story has improved. But he's here to share with you why it is important to start now. If you haven't started already, don't let another day pass without starting to prepare for your retirement. So Thomas Lartey, when we met him, he was head of HR at the teaching hospital in Ho. Currently, he's the director of admin for the Zongo Development Fund. So Thomas, welcome. Thank you so much for all the time that you've given to us this week. We're really, really grateful. Thank you, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. The voice that sells more than the Databank itself. Thank you, Edmund. I think Edmund should be paying you people so much because you are doing his work for him. You organize us and then he has the chance to come and tell us much things we should have learned and we were not told. So Edmund, thanks so much. But in reality, I do give my life story the way it is. The way it is. And well, I don't share. Somebody saw me on the media called me last night and said, why? And I said, that is the truth. And I wish I had a chance to say more so that people can learn. One thing I always say is, I never thought I would grow. I never thought I would grow. And I have to be grateful to Databank after I met them, a whole facilitator to talk about investment and insurance, or how do you call it, SSNIT, pension, and myself, I wasn't prepared for anything. And within a year, I can boast by saying that at least I bought a land. I have only tomorrow as a difference, I'm going to pay for 5,000 blocks. I asked somebody to mold for me. And gradually, at age 52, I'm still staying in my father's house. Very shameful. Eh? And that is why my junior brothers, when they talk and I talk, I feel bad because they can insult me, brother. And the worst of it all is I'm even a chief. And the chief stay in your father's house, you can just imagine. So sometimes going home is always a problem. But I try my best. But I kept saying I started work in 1995 as a trained teacher. I went to St. Joseph's Training College, Became just came out a trained teacher. And as at now, it is now that I'm able. I don't know from 95 to this year, how many years. I think I've ended close to 25 years. And if I were to be saving even 5,000 every year, like by now, I won't be giving my testimony like that. But just to say that if you are 30 years, you are 25 years, or you have been given first appointment letter, and you haven't started doing anything, based on my experience, start now. If Kojo and his able marketing manager tells you you are not late, it's lie, you are getting late. You are getting late. Go now and start now. Don't
I was trying to encourage them.
Go now and start now, because tomorrow I'll do, and I'm 50 plus, and I have just bought a plot less than 3 months ago. I don't know when I'll finish building, but inshallah, I try to finish building before I get to 55 years. At least a chamber and hall will be befitting me. So if you are 25 or 20, you've gotten your first appointment letter, start saving. Do not push it for tomorrow. 1995, when I came out fresh from the training college, my daddy put up a house, have so many tenants. One of them, she's late. They call Kate Unlimited. She died some years back. A young man, you go and buy shoe, buy something and wear. They called me, said, young guy, don't come. Try to save 50% of your salary every blessed month. I can't save more than one CD. Save more, 1995. There's a prayer that you can even save 1+1. And I said, no, I can't do it. Then she added, never go in for a loan. Never in your life go in for a loan. And the day you go in for a loan, that ends your life career. You are climbing in life. Because all your money will be saving, all the money you will get, you'll be using to pay for, the bank loans, and the interest, the benefits will go to the bank. So don't work for bank, never go for loan. So I started, at least I did the first one, within the first 1 year, I went for overdraft. I did a 6-7 month, I went for overdraft. Then another overdraft. You know, rural banks, they have this overdraft they give. And they have a way when you go, they'll force you to pay. I know that they'll force you when you ask, they'll give it to you. First, second, third month, then my overdraft is now exceeding my monthly salary. So I was compelled to go for loan. And that is the genesis of my downfall. I call it downfall because at the end of the month, the salary they give you, you have even gone in for another overdraft upon the loan they will deduct. So most often than not, I don't go to bank at the end of the month. I always go to bank at the beginning of the new month. So that when I take the small one, I can quickly take additional overdraft. I have taken the loans upon loans, then taking overdraft upon overdraft, and we call something the rural bank additional loans. So you go and when you pay smaller loan, you can come for additional loan. So if you go in, sometimes the bank people themselves will even borrow you money to clear your loan and take more loan, and you pay them that one to interest. What kind of slavery and slavery we were, or I was, not we were, I don't know about others. Then again, I spend a lot. And because I started going for loan, I have reduced my income, I have reduced everything. And for me to still go ahead with life, I need to keep borrowing. Until even to marry, I borrow money to marry. That's a funny thing. I borrow money to marry. I borrow money to bury my dad. I borrow money to educate, to further educate, to do further education for my own self. I borrow money to train my children, borrow money to school my children. And all these are monies that you keep borrowing that have no end. By the time you finish paying for one loan, 2 or 3 other loans are already in process. And I kept saying that as for this bank, I stay with them. So if they challenge me, it's there. Stanbic Bank. The last loan I took from Stanbic Bank was 14,000 cedis. And I said, no, I want the payments to be flexible. So for 4 years or so, at the end of the day, 14,000, I paid 36,000. When you take 14,000, 36,000, so this is the reality, exactly what the woman told me. So I paid over 200 million Ghana cedis, old Ghana cedis, over 20,000 of my income to Stanbic, just because I went in for 14,000 cedis. And that 14,000 is money I'm owing some few banks, Israel loans, some small friends. After I finished sharing, there was actually nothing. So if you are listening to me, I'm not reading from a book. I'm not Googling. I'm just taking life. And I wish we all take it. Those who can start saving. And if you haven't taken a loan yet, pray to God. If you are listening to me, don't go in for it. Because then you make mistake. And loan has some spirit. Oh, I can go and clear it. I can get money and go and clear it. You will never get that money. You will never get. You can go in for lotto numbers 100 times. You will be taken. So sometimes I dream about lotto numbers. Oh, this one will help me. This one, when I win, I'm going to clear my loan. They will mention the lotto number, and I'm not close to the number I dreamt about. So I don't know what to do. And it is on. I've never bought a plot until last year. This year, May. Last year, when I have the chance to be a facilitator on this program as it's going today, then I realized that no, I am just 50 and I don't even have a plot. As if I'm going to retire my own father's house. No. One father, Paul, I once told me, to prosper, you must leave your father's family house, your father's house. If you want to grow, don't stay in your father's house. It's accept that if you don't want to grow, then stay in your father's house. And at age 50 plus, I'm still in my father's house. The only thing is because I'm a chief, sometimes when I sit down, people are insulting me, you don't be here. But make sure that at age 30, 40, leave your father's house, don't stay there by saving small too. So after this training we've done, I realized that no, I lost a lot. I lost a lot. I was cancer, otherwise I would have taken my life because I don't know when I'm going to start and where I was going to end. But I do have some small tips. People you help either through salaries or work or whatever it is. People dash me a lot. But when somebody gave me 200 cedis, 100 cedis, 1,000 cedis, sometimes I just don't think about so this small money. Can this start a building? Then it's on your phone, you use it. It's on your phone, you use it. After this particular seminar we had at home with Databank, I began to put every money I get on my phone and lock it up. And even my mother was sick, seriously sick, I would never take it. Again, I've taken heavy load of all the family on me. If my mom is sick, I must give her a better treatment. If my brothers, and you'll be surprised to hear me saying that my brother who I've been helping, he's putting up a house without even telling me, without informing me that my brother put in a house. It's when he got to some place that somebody hinted when I asked, oh yes, it's true. So when he needs money, he comes for me to take it. So it's after this that gradually I bought plot for the first time after age 50. And I'm hoping. I doubt whether somebody can say Databank. I've been saying this since 3 days when I started this program with them, and I've said it before. My brother, my sister, save. Don't wait. Don't joke with it. Don't say, oh, this man, I hope I have a belief that I will not die now. Maybe it's me. I say I will not fall sick and I will not die. But I realize that I'm going on retirement, whether I like it or not. I'm getting to the age of it. Besides these 3 days, so when you even take 3 days from the 8 years that is left for me, it has even reduced no more 3 days. It's no more 8 years, 7 years plus a few months and few days. So whoever is there, but I have one question for Kojo before you leave. My tier 2, can I go and surrender them from whatever it is to you? Just tell them, because no, they should take care of tier 2. Come and take form from you so that my tier 2 comes to Databank. At least that one is automatic. I can be doing that one now, because now I am lost. I don't know what I can save, when I can save to put up a house in a place. Where with Databank, I said they should put a house for us and take our money to pay for it. They promised doing that for me. So my people listening to me, thanks so much. That is my own personal life. That's my own story. That is I will tell the tale of my misery one day. And when I finish putting up my house, I'll write on it Databank.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Wow, Thomas, thank you very much. Just to quickly answer your question, the first step is to ask your employers who the trustees of your tier 2 are. Now, it's the trustees who sort of, in quotes, determine who the fund manager is in consultation with maybe your head of HR, your head of finance. Usually there'll be proposals from different fund managers, and then the trustee together with your company would say, okay, we want company A or B to be our fund manager. So you can ask the trustees who the fund managers are.
No, that's so much I know. Sorry,
okay,
that's so much I know. But if I want to single myself out of that, is it possible?
I have to check. I have to check on that.
Yeah.
I have to check on that.
I'll be grateful.
Yeah, I have to check on that. All right.
Thomas, thank you very much.
Thank you, my sweetest voice, marketing manager.
When you were talking and you spoke initially about if you had even invested 5,000 CDs a year, how much you would have now. And I decided to calculate it for you while you were talking. And so if you had invested for the last 25 years, 5,000 CDs a year, or which is roughly 416 CDs a month. If you had put it under your mattress, let's say you didn't put it in Databank or anywhere, just under your mattress, you'd have had 124,800 CDs.
1 billion?
I don't know, you're talking all Ghana.
1 billion plus.
You'd have had 124,000 just under your mattress. But if you had invested it using the same 15% that we use in the example, you would now have 1.13 million in an investment for yourself from just 5,000 a year. So to all the young people listening, please don't let this be your story. By now you should have 1 million in an account. Easy.
Really?
Yeah.
So now if I decide to save 500 from now,
yes,
look at my age now. You know, I have 8 years now, minus 3 days or 4 days. 500 Ghana cedis with Databank, so that when it means that when I go with, I'm going to suffer a lot at home. So
it just
500. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, it just means that you won't be able to live as comfortably as you had hoped. But if you do 500 CDs now, for the next 8 years, you'll have roughly 88,000.
88,000. Tomorrow come. 88,000.
88,000.
That is okay.
So
I will call Jude. I'll call Judy to come.
yes. But thank
because
you.
I have to do, once I start to pull out this, fortunately when I'm working, it's not too like it used to be, but I'll try. I need to.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, I would like to put a caveat in the numbers we've put out there. We have not adjusted for inflation and depreciation. So 88,000 in today's cedis may not be worth the 88,000 in 8 years' time. But it is still going to be 88,000. That number won't change. The value of it is what we don't know, considering the rate of inflation and rate of depreciation. Just a caveat I need to put in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Kojo. Okay, so I thank Kojo and Thomas and Edmund for their words. We will go into the Q&A section. Before we start the Q&A though, I have a few giveaways, small giveaways. And what I will ask everybody to do is, when I read the question out, then I will ask you to raise your hand, and whoever raises their hand first will get the opportunity to answer. So the question, oh, not yet, so just wait 1 minute, thank you. So the question that I'm going to ask, you will get, if you answer correctly, you will get 20 CDs airtime. And the question is, on which mobile network can you use *6100#? And the first person up is Ya Asiedua. Ya, what is your answer?
Hello.
Hi, how are you? You've muted yourself. Okay, please go ahead.
Please, on MTN and Vodafone.
Yes, very good. Absolutely correct. So, yeah, you've just won 20 CDs in airtime. We will reach out to you in the chat and then just get the rest of your details. Okay, so if everyone can mute themselves and lower their hands, please, then I'll read another question. This one will give you, I need all hands lowered, thank you. This one will give you a 50 CD gift voucher for the fund of your choice. Okay, question is, the pension that you receive from SSNIT Tier 1, can it only be received as monthly payouts or monthly and lump sum? So your Tier 1 pension, is it paid out as lump sum or lump sum and monthly payouts? So Galaxy J6.
Yeah.
Give us your name.
Please, it's a monthly payout.
Okay. Can I get your name, please? Yes, because
Please,
this is
Richard Kenneth Inku.
yes, this is under Act 766. So Richard Kenneth Inku. Okay, so we'll reach out to you in the chat as well. Thank you. Okay, so everyone can.
Welcome, madam.
Pardon me? Richard, what were you saying?
I said you're welcome. You are welcome.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move into the Q&A section because time is fast going. So once the Q&A is done, then I'll ask a few more questions and give away a few more prizes. So at this point, you can lower your hands if you do not have a question. If you have a question, leave your hand up. I will call you, and I'll also read out some of the questions from the chat as well. Okay, so we'll, I'm going to, Richard, do you have a question?
Please, no.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with Charles Dugbe. Charles, you can unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I was about answering the question the previous guy answered.
Okay, you were going to answer.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so just for clarity, please lower your hands if you do not have a question. So I'm going to call on Constance.
Hello.
Hi, Constance, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I have two. First of all, thank you so much for this program, especially for those of us who are not in Accra. It's very helpful. And I'm hoping you do a bit more publicity because I've been investing with Databank for 10 years and I had no idea such a program existed. And so if subsequently you can maybe send emails to your clients, it would be helpful.
Okay.
So I have two questions. The first one is, because, you know, some of us have been investing with Databank for a number of years and using different products. And when there's a problem with a particular product, in this case, I'm referring to, say, the UT shares that we bought, which UT went under. Is there any kind of advocacy that Databank is doing for its clients? Or is it because it's not a Databank, just because it's not a Databank product, there's nothing that can be done about it? That's my first question.
Okay.
My second question has to do with whether it's true or not. There appears to be a perception that there is a bit of a political affiliation because the former CEO of Databank is currently the finance minister. And so there's a bit of talk about if the political winds change, there's a possibility that there might be direct attacks on Databank.
Oh my God.
Affects its customers. So my question in this instance is it something that as Databank, you see no possibility of it happening? And so you have no plans to have any contingency in case something like that happens, the political winds change, and for those of us who are long-term investors? Or have you considered the possibility, and do you have in place measures so that our investments are protected when we are investing long-term? So those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Constance. Okay, let me let Kojo answer those two questions, and then I'll take a few others and we'll move. First one was UT shares.
Okay, so Constance, if I get that question clearly, just clarify very quickly. Did you buy the UT shares as an individual or privately through maybe our brokerage? Just let me get it clear. Hello, Constance, are you there?
1 second, Constance. Let me find you and unmute you again.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Constance, I need clarity on how you bought the UT shares.
Yes, I bought it as an individual through your brokerage.
Okay, through our brokerage. And your question is, when it goes down in that mode, are we able to do something about it for you in terms of advocacy? Okay, thank you. I get the question. I will say yes, the advocacy part we do. Maybe you will not see it that visibly, but when things like that are happening, we engage the exchange quite aggressively. It is not within our purview, I must be honest. It's really not within our, but we do the advocacy with the Securities and Exchange Commission and with the Ghana Stock Exchange to see what shareholders like yourself who are very vulnerable, what can be done for them. I would say maybe unfortunately this came under the SEC's purview, and as you know, the SEC side of things haven't gone quite as smoothly as the BOG side of things. So it's something that we keep engaging the SEC on, but I can't promise anything. But I'd like to take advantage and state that this is why sometimes as an individual, it's also good to buy into a mutual fund, where then you are kind of insulated. So if you bought into EPAC and EPAC went and bought into UT, essentially your units will still be your units in EPAC, and the downfall of UT may be mitigated by another stock within the mutual fund. So that's pretty much what I'll have to say in that space. And then your second question was a political one. Constance, this is a question we get like every day, literally. And I think I need to voice record my answer and maybe place it on our website. We take it extremely seriously. We know what is out there. We already get the heat and the fake news and all that. We get it. But this is how I like to answer the question. And ladies and gentlemen, just bear me out a bit. My answer may take a wee bit of time, but I think it's extremely important, because it is very important for all of you to understand the governance around the products and how the Databank is structured and how the products are structured. Because if you understand the structure, then it gives you the comfort levels that we require you to have. Now, the products you buy into, especially the mutual fund products, and Constance, I'll also come to the brokerage side, which I suspect you're also a client of. But let me talk about the mutual funds first, where you have bought into M Fund, B Fund, EPAC, ARC Fund, EDI Fund. Now, the law requires that all these products are positioned as companies. So even though you see yourself buying a product, M Fund, EPAC, you are actually buying to be a shareholder of M Fund Company Limited, of B Fund Company Limited, or Databank Balance Fund Company Limited, Databank EPAC Company Limited. You are buying shares in those companies. Now, those companies or the products are completely separate governance-wise from Databank Asset Management Limited, the fund manager. So the fund manager is completely separate from the product, which is a company on its own with its own independent board of directors. So if you check the annual reports, which are also on our website, you'll find out that M Fund has its own independent board of directors, B Fund has its own independent board of directors, so does ARC Fund, so does EPAC, and so does EDI Fund. They are all independent directors there. And all these directors do have shares in the product. They have invested in the product, and it's disclosed in our annual reports as well. I am the only management member who sits on the boards as a director, but that is good corporate governance. You always need at least one executive director on the board to be able to transition or move, take whatever happens at the board to management for implementation. These independent board of directors ensure that we are adhering to the scheme particulars of the fund as we have filed at the Securities and Exchange Commission. We have quarterly board meetings where we are queried as management, how much money have investors brought or shareholders brought? Where did you take that money? Why did you take it into this one and not into the other one? What are the risks associated with this particular investment? What are the mitigating factors, etc., etc.? You bear with me, or you agree with me that these independent directors who are also shareholders, who have also invested lots of money in the products, are not going to sit down for the fund manager, who is Databank Asset Management Limited, to do anything by heart, so to speak. Let me speak like a typical Ghanaian, to do anything by heart with the money, like go and buy cars or invest in some houses or something. No, it doesn't happen that way. That said, the law also requires that each of the funds has a custodian bank. So those of you who even physically walk into the branches, into our branches to invest, you realize that you never hand over money to Databank or a Databank staff specifically. You will be handing money to one of our partner banks. So it's either GT Bank, Zenith Bank, Access, GCB, UBA. One of our partner banks is where you would deposit the money. Now, each of these funds apart from the partner banks, the money will go into the custodian bank. So for M Fund, the custody bank is GT Bank. For EPAC, I think it's Standard Chartered. For B Fund, is Stanbic. So before an investment is made, the fund manager would scan around and decide that, okay, we've noticed that there's a 2-year bond that is being put out by the government. We are interested, we'll buy. We then instruct the custody bank to wire the money to purchase. So all this is happening just with instructions from us. We don't touch the money, we don't have access to it. The custody bank publishes an annual report of all the monies that they have received and where they have placed the money, the investments they have placed the monies in, so that it is very clear and transparent. The board of directors will also, the independent ones will also examine these reports and make sure that it is all in accordance with the law. I keep telling my friends and people I meet all the time who sometimes ask me this question, that, you know, the way Act 929, which is the law that governs us, is designed, it is extremely difficult for a fund to just collapse like that if you follow the law, because you have either invested in stocks on the stock market, unless the stock market completely crashes, like everything has crashed to zero, or they are investing in fixed income products like Government of Ghana securities and corporate bonds, like maybe a Bayport bond or something like that. And the chances of Government of Ghana securities completely going down is very, very minimal, unless you have used the money for something that you are not supposed to use it for. Chances are that the fund will survive. Now, that said, comfort, let's even say, for argument's sake, let's just say that Databank Asset Management Limited, which is the fund manager, which is separate from the products completely, and only earns a management fee for managing the fund and managing M Fund Company Limited, managing Databank EPAC Limited, takes just a management fee. But let's just say that for whatever reason, the fund manager is no more. The responsibility lies on these independent directors that I mentioned to just get another credible fund manager, appoint that fund manager to continue managing the funds that are sitting in M Fund or EPAC or whatever product that you have, which is a company of its own. Based on the custodian's reports, they can tell where the monies have been invested, and the new fund manager takes over and progresses or proceeds with the investments that have been made. It is not like the money was sitting with us, the fund manager, Databank Asset Management Limited, and so when we are knocked off, then the money too is gone. That's not how it works. The way the law is designed, it really insulates the fund manager from the product itself. And in the brokerage space as well, I'm sure when you came in to buy the UT shares or whatever shares you are buying as an individual, you are given what is called a CSD account, a Central Securities Depository account. So with your CSD account, it doesn't even matter if your broker is not existing anymore. Indeed, you could buy the shares from Databank Brokerage. Once it's registered in the CSD, you can decide that any of our competitor brokers should sell the shares for you. You are not obliged to come in to the Databank Brokerage by all means because you bought it here to sell it through us. Or you could even have bought it through another broker and come and sell it through us because it is sitting on the CSD. And that is the Central Securities Depository where all the shares on the stock exchange are recognized. I hope I have answered your question and I hope I have put your heart at rest. Thank you very much for investing long-term with us and keep going with us, Databank. We've been around for 30 years, just so you know.
Thank you, Kojo. Okay, I'm going to unmute Lydia, and so I'll take questions from Lydia and Bertha.
Hello.
So Lydia, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I also have 2 questions. My first question goes to SSNIT, or I don't know the name, SSNIT, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was working with Ghana Education Service for some time now, and I left for school, and they have blocked my salary and deleted me from the payroll. So I want to know if my money is still safe with them? And then my second question is, I am here in school, not in China, so how do I still put money in my mFund account? Thank you.
You said you're in China?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Lydia. I'm going to take a few more questions before we start answering. Bertha, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself. So, Bertha, are you able to unmute yourself? Okay, if not, then I'll ask Yao to unmute himself and start talking.
Hello.
Okay, hi Bertha. So Yao, 1 minute, please. Let Bertha go.
Please. So I have two questions. My first question is, so if you are a contributor to SSNIT from your day job, and then you have another business, do you still, and you want to add on to whatever you pay, your day job pays at SSNIT, is it possible to do that? Or you have to save at or invest in another tier scheme? So, because I know SSNIT is for tier 1 now, so that would you have to do a tier 3 for that side job that you are earning from? Or there's a way for you to still continue or add on to your SSNIT that your day job pays? And my second question is, throughout the talk, we did not hear the packages Databank has for us to make a choice whether we want to invest in any of them. So if you could also take us through that, then we can also make a decision on whether or not we want to invest in any of the packages or investment packages Databank has. So thank you. Those are the questions.
Thank you so much, Bertha. I'll let both Edmund and Kojo come in, but the reason that we didn't focus on specific products was really we wanted this to be about education primarily and letting people understand the importance of preparing for their retirement and how their pension will work. So we'll definitely take you through. I think Kojo maybe can just summarize it quickly when he's talking, and then we'll try and put something in the chat for everyone as well. So Yao, if you're able to unmute yourself, please ask your questions and then we'll start answering. Oh, do I need to? Okay, hold on.
All right, so thank you. My name is Yao Asante. I am a commission earner, and it's unfortunate my company doesn't pay any SSNIT or any pension plan for me. I noticed that I'm not the only person who in such situation. So for people who have irregular incomes and doesn't have a specific, let me say, or our commission earners like agents and the rest, what are the specific products that they can benefit from, or what are the specific products that are designed for them in line with their retirement? Likewise, in line with mortgages, in other words, because those are the kind of securities that we're all looking for: what to eat, where to sleep, and the rest are something else. Thank you. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, Yao. So we'll pause and get both Kojo and Edmund to answer. So Edmund, I'll have you start off first. There was a question from Lydia on GES and the fact that she's left for school and her salary is locked and she's been deleted from the payroll. So what to do? Then there was a question from Bertha about having SSNIT being contributed through her day job, but she has another business and wants to know whether she can add on to SSNIT or what should she do. And then I think both you and Kojo can take the last question about somebody who earns commission and there's no SSNIT being contributed by the employer. What do they do? So please go ahead.
Edmund or Kojo first?
Edmund first.
Okay, thank you very much. You are being very objective because E comes before K. So, yeah, the GES lady was like, she contributed and was not able to make the minimum contribution period. And what we want her to know is that the money is safe. When she is due for her benefit, she will definitely be paid what we call an old age lump sum. If you don't qualify for the full pension, you get all your contributions plus the interest will be paid to you as a lump sum. So the money is safe. We are hoping that she's not too much old, and with the hope that she can come back and continue now that the contribution period for somebody to qualify for the full pension has been reduced from 20 years or 240 months to 180 months. It's likely that she can now qualify for pension if she's able to come back and make the difference. Then she can now qualify for the full pension. So that is that. Then for Beta, she is talking about what we term as a multiple contribution. We have people who really work with two companies. And these things are common outside the country. That's somebody working for 3 companies. And even recently, we have some of our nurses, the medical staff working for the government institution as well as private clinics or private hospitals, and which is really established, and that the employer-employee relationship is really established. They're able to pay both into the same account. What happens is that you have to use the same SS number, never use 2 SS numbers. So you can contribute for employer A and then employer B with the same SS number. Then at the end of the month, you'll be credited with all the contributions from the 2 companies. And that is what we term the multiple contribution. It is allowed where the employer and employee relationship has been established. And I think I have given a typical example, and that is not the only one. We have those who do day and night work. They work with one company, and the night you see them with another company. Please, it's your right once the employer-employee relationship has been established. Make sure that you insist on your right. Let them pay from both sides, and these will enhance your pension. Remember the first parameter: the higher the salary, the higher your pension. And of course, once you are able to get from the 2 sides, definitely it's going to be more than when you have with one establishment. So it's possible to add on to the SSNIT. Then on Yao Asante, yes, where he's receiving an irregular, if we are able to know exactly what his occupation is, we'll be able to advise very well. SSNIT, we have the daily rated, we have the monthly rated, and then we have the seasonal rated. The daily rated are those who receive wages for a day's job. Then at the end of the month, they put it together, and then we do the computation of getting the 13.5% of it paid to SSNIT. You can get typical examples from a lot of institutions. Maybe I don't need to mention them. Then we have the monthly rated one, which is the majority. Most of us always receive our salaries at the end of the month. So with that, we can also work out the 13.5% of that one. And then we have those that are also seasonal, especially these cocoa farmers. The farmers, most of their income is seasonal. It's during the cocoa season that they get enough income and also pay. So when we enter into those agreements, if it takes, let's say, 3 months or 4 months for their season, then they allow them to also wait and then pay it in 3 months. And within that 3 months period, then they will make sure they pay all their arrears. And if possible, they are even allowed to do a little in advance. And for those who take the commission, some of them is worked on daily basis, and some of them, due to the work that you're able to do within a certain month, it fluctuates. It does not necessarily have to be the same. Once at the end of the month, you meet the minimum salary of the 320, you are good to go also to join the scheme. They need to register those people. If you are in doubt, please, you can report to any of us, and we'll deal it diplomatically, and then we'll see how best you'll be contributed for. If you are not being put on the SSNIT scheme, then we'll easily be able to do that for you. So irrespective of the income, whatever category, whether it is daily rated, whether it is monthly or seasonal, SSNIT has made room for all those people to be members of the scheme. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Edmund. Kojo will go back to Lydia and then continue from there.
Lydia wanted to know.
She's in China. How can she continue?
Continue her M-Fund. So, Lydia, actually, we have the option for you to top up your M-Fund account using the Visa or MasterCard. But in the last 2 days, I have come to find out that it's looking like it's quite a challenge from China. You are probably at least the third or fourth person from China who has asked a question. So maybe there are even more people in China who are on the call but haven't asked a question. But try your Visa or MasterCard. If that doesn't work, I am also informed that the mobile money option in China now works. So we have the mobile money option. If you go, I don't know how *6100 will work, but if you go onto our website, you'll be able to register on our mobile money platform, and you can use the mobile money from China to do your top up. I am informed that one works. There was a guy who was on 2 days ago who confirmed that he's topping up through mobile money, but I think he has a challenge with the Visa and MasterCard. And you can also, there are some banks, he told us that it's not all the banks, but there are some banks that you can also do a transfer direct into our M-Fund accounts for your account. So I hope that answers your question. Then,
investing towards.
Okay, so Yao, I think Edmund has given you one side of the coin where you can go into a SSNIT office, have a conversation with them, and figure out how best you can have social security, at least from the government side. But that said, you can also, it requires more discipline, but you can also come to us. We can give you an appropriate product that you can use in preparing for your retirement. But because there's ease of withdrawal in that one, sometimes it becomes difficult. But you can also give us an instruction to say we should not allow you to withdraw. We can block the account such that no withdrawals are permitted and only deposits are put in. And you can deposit any amount that you like. But now that you know your retirement number, just try and target that retirement number and do the deposits in the appropriate product. There's a lady who asked why we didn't showcase all our products. I think Jillian told you gave you the gist of it, and the fact that today is about educating Ghanaians or in fact everybody across the world about this whole retirement issue, and not about Databank specifically and our products. But the product that suits you depends always on your risk tolerance and the time you have and how much, of course, you also have. So depending on your risk tolerance, across the 5 mutual fund products we have products that will meet all risk tolerance levels that anybody could have. So from M-Fund and EdiFund Tier 1, which we think are the lowest risk products because they are highly focused on fixed income, across to EPAC, which is probably the highest one with the one with the highest volatility, because it is mostly in stocks across Africa. And then in between, we have B Fund, ARC Fund, Eddy Fund Tier 2, which are balanced. So depending on your risk profile and your risk appetite, we will recommend the appropriate product for you.
Thank you very much, Kojo. Before we take more questions from those with their hands raised, I'll just pull up some of the questions that have come through the chat. So Edmund, a number of them are for you. So you can take notes and then we'll go through them. So Joseph asked, how do you calculate the invalidity benefit? That is a lump sum and monthly. And then he also asked, how do I get to benefit from the tax incentive from, okay, this one is for Kojo. How do I get to benefit from the tax incentive from the tier 3? Because he has a personal pension with a trustee, even though he takes his salary from controller and his contribution comes as post-tax. So Kojo, I'll ask you that one when it's time. Edmund, another one for you from Jennifer says, if she is no longer employed, but she wishes to continue paying her SSNIT contributions, how does she go about it? What should she do? Then Nicholas asks, how many years after one retires can he receive the monthly payment? Then Kenneth asks, what should you do if your employer has not been paying your pension for tier 1 and tier 2, despite actually deducting from your salary? So what should you do if your employer is not paying your pension despite deductions for such? And then there's another question that says, there's a mention of 25,000 Ghana cedis. Is that the maximum monthly pension or the maximum salary from which SSNIT contributions are deducted? And somebody else also asked you to elaborate on the 25,000 cap. That's Naomi. And the 3 things that would be on her SSNIT statement. So you can answer, you'll answer both of them with that 25,000 question. Then there are 3 more, so let me just go through them. Another person says, I have a staff of 3, so this is Ajwa. She has a staff of 3, and with the current situation being COVID, our business is down and we're paying staff 70%. We were obliged to write to SSNIT to inform them that we are suspending SSNIT payments for the time being. Is this a situation that SSNIT has come up against, and can you elaborate on what would be done? So let me pause there, and Edmund, if you can answer those questions, then I'll come to Kojo.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right. I think the first question was on the invalidity computation. Yes. Yeah, the invalidity computation, we use the base for the qualifying condition. Remember, we said that it will be assumed that you have contributed for a minimum of 180 months, of which will enable you qualify for the full pension. Now here, age is no more an issue. So we use that one to do for the minimum person who is going on reduced pension, and then we do the computation. So you get the minimum of the reduced pension based on your last salary that you were receiving. Remember, we said that for you to qualify for the invalidity pension, you should have contributed for 12 months within the last 36 months that you were declared incapacitated by the qualified medical doctor, and after you have met the SSNIT medical board. And so that is where the computation will be done for you. The only difference will be the salary that you collect. That will be the difference from you and the other person. But it will be assumed that you have all contributed for a minimum of 180 80 months, so that we use that one to do the computation for you, just as we went through the computation of the pension. It's also a form of pension. That is the invalidity. Then somebody was asking when he should receive his pension when he goes on retirement. Remember, I said that 3 months to your pension, 3 months into your pension, you contact SSNIT. Then we'll print your statement and we'll try to update all your records. If you have not done the biometric registration, you are asked to quickly do it. You have not changed your beneficiaries for the last 5 years, we quickly do that for you. We print your statement and then we go through. If there are gaps, we make sure that all those gaps, if really they are genuine, they are left as it is. And if they are not genuine, we work it out to make sure that we complete it. So that within that 3 months period, we should have been able to update all your records. Then it means that the last month of your retirement, after your contribution hits the Social Security account, the following month, you should be able to, or you should be expecting your first pension from SSNIT. So quickly, we need to replace your lost income, which, assuming that you ended your last contribution was in June, we expect that by July, you should be able to join the pensioners and then take your first pension. That is our target, and we've been able to do it recently, even sometimes less than even 3 weeks. And some even receive their pension payment even within 2 weeks. So that is that for now. So if you quickly want your pension, you make sure that all your records are updated. And that is why we've been advising people that if for the last 5 years you've not done the change of beneficiary, quickly do that. If you have not collected your statement, please quickly collect your statement. Don't wait till the last minute. Then you get to know that you have some potholes or gaps in your statement. The most difficult aspect of it is where the gaps are and the establishment is ceased or even closed, is nowhere to be found. So where do we get the amount, the gaps to be filled? So the early best really catches the web. Please quickly get to us, and then we'll make sure that we'll update all your records for you to receive your pension immediately that you go on pension, so that we'll be able to quickly replace your lost income. Then the other one was like where the contributions are not being deducted by his employer. This brings us to a topic that we call the employer and employee obligation. The employer has an obligation. The obligation of the employer is to make sure that every worker that he or she employed is registered. It has only 1 month to register the member to join the scheme. Employee, it is also your right or your obligation to ensure that any institution that you join, within 1 month, you get your Social Security number. If you are not registered, you contact us or your employer, which is also his obligation to ensure that will register you. Immediately that will register you, will give you a provisional number. And that provisional number is as good as the Social Security number. So when the SS number is generated, then we'll replace it with the provisional. We'll replace the provisional number now with your 13-digit generated SS number, which is very, very important. So if you are in such a place and the employer is not honoring his obligations, please quietly, I can put my number on the line, and I can also give you the SSNIT contact center number, which is 0302 611 622. 0302 611 622. Please, you can quietly call and then leave out the information of the employer, where the employer is located. Then the office, which is the contact center, will contact the nearest branch office to make sure that you are also registered. Please, we need a lot of whistleblowers. Without you, a lot of you will not be registered. And we are here for you, and we will do it quietly. The employer will never know. Then we'll make sure that you are also put on the SSNIT. Then the question on the 25 maximum was not it's on the salary. If your salary is more than 25,000, assuming that you receive 30,000 as your salary, when they are paying your social security contribution, when your employer, he will cap it to 25,000. In other words, it will be truncated to 25,000 Ghana cedis, and then the 13.5% will be applied on the 25,000 cedis. The 5,000 left will have to go into other investment, and that is why Tier 3 is there for you, and that is why Databank is also there for you, so that you go in and then you invest something on the 5,000 that is left. You can decide to also apply that same rate and put it there at the third tier. But remember, the second tier will also take 5% of the same 25,000. The second tier cannot take anything more than the 25,000 because the 18.5 is mandatory for both SSNIT and then the Tier 2. And we all apply it on the salary, and which is the maximum cap is the 25,000. So the difference, you can now invest that one in third tier. So if you're on this program, Databank is there rightly for you. We have people who are receiving 100,000 a month, 150,000. I know some place somebody takes more than 300,000. And anytime he meets me, asks me that question, SSNIT, you are taking, only working your rate on my 25,000. And even the 25,000, you are taking only 13.5%. What should I do with the rest of the money? And I always advise them, Master, that is why in the beauty of the law, there's a third tier. And I've always been saying there can be the fourth tier, fifth tier, and sixth tier. And you can, Databank is right there for you now. So you can go there and then make sure that you invest all or part of the money that is left with the Databank. And then with that, I believe that you are good to go and you are going to have a comfortable retirement benefit. Because you take your package from SSNIT, you take your package from Tier 2, then you go and take your package from the Tier 3. I don't think that you can enjoy your pension so death lays his icy hands on you. Then your children and your spouse, Master, will be happy that you lived as their father, husband, and brother, and including your extended family. So that is that for the 25,000 cap. It's maximum salary, it's salary, not contribution. So then the three things on the statement of account that I mentioned, number one, you will see your best 3 years salary. Number two, you will see your average best 3 years salary. Number three, you will see the number of months that you have contributed towards the scheme. And then number four, you're going to see your past credit to date, your past credit to date. These are the things that you also see on your statement of account. Then staff of 3, which has the COVID-19 issue, please, first of all, you write to inform SSNIT. And then secondly, you'll be invited. And then we have a chat with you and to decide as to how the contributions will be paid. So that is that for the COVID-19 issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edmund. So for Kojo, I have just a couple questions for you, and then we'll continue to move. So
I think it was the Tier 3
Tier
tax,
3, yes.
tax thing. So the way it works is that the deductions are done on your basic salary prior to tax deductions. So if you are not, the point we make is that if you are not taking advantage of Tier 3, what then happens is that you see that there are caps, as Edmund has said. So what then happens is that there are no deductions done and your net salary is higher, and then your tax bracket then gets higher. But if you take advantage of the Tier 3, because the deductions are being done on your basic, the deduction is done to your benefit before the tax percentage is applied. But note, there's a minimum, I'm sorry I don't have that figure on top of my head, but I'll find it. But there's a minimum number of years you must contribute into Tier 3 without going for a withdrawal to take advantage of that full tax benefit. Otherwise, if you go and attempt to withdraw before a certain number of years of contribution, they will slap a penalty on you, and you will not, that means that you will not have earned that full tax benefit, because they know people may want to dribble around the taxation. So the advantage is that you get a deduction on your basic before the tax percentages are applied. So you are paying a lesser tax amount on your basic, while at the same time you are saving something for your retirement. So that's how it works. But I will get the minimum number of months that you must contribute, hopefully before we end the session.
Thank you, Kojo. Okay, Edmund, there are a few more questions for you, and then I'll go back to the hands. So Fred says that you mentioned that you need to notify SSNIT 3 months before your retirement. Is it when you want to go on early retirement? Because, and he goes on to say, because SSNIT has our biodata and is aware when a contributor turns 60, why do they then need to notify SSNIT, since you would already have all of this information? And then he asks as well, if you worked in Ghana for, let's say, less than 10 years, and then you left the country to work in a different country, does SSNIT have any plan for you when you turn 60, or even before you turn 60, since you contributed less than the minimum 15 years? And then he wants to find out a little bit more about the online service and the benefits of using the online service. Then Priscilla is about to start her national service and wants to know whether she can contribute to SSNIT while she's doing, through her national service pay. And then the last one from Peace says, she's been with GES for 8 years and now is in the private sector. What should she do if after checking her SSNIT statement, she realizes that she has not been credited for some months now? Edmund, you can go ahead. Then I'll go to everybody in the chat.
Thank you very much. I'm sure I'm on air.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I think the first one, I did justice to it, that the 3 months that when you are to attain the age of 60, for us to be able to update all your records, your statement, what we normally call your financial data and your bio data. The financial data has to do with your statement of account, where there are gaps. We take your employment history, those institutions that you have worked with, of which you were not credited. We make sure that we update all those ones so that at the end of the day, you will not be shortchanged. Then once that one is done, we also check to make sure that everything is really updated. A typical example is what we talked about, your beneficiaries. If for the last 5 years it has not been updated, you need to really update it. So we're talking about those who have 3 months to attain the age of 60. For those of you who are to go in for the early, as for that one, as and when you decide, you come in. But to be on the safer side, at least once in every year, make sure that you get your statement of account with SSNIT. Make sure that all your records are really updated, especially the beneficiaries, because people die day in and day out. People go beyond, the minor age where they get employment. It's better you change the rate, assuming that you gave that person 50%. Now that, thank God, the person is now out there and is working. It's better you change your beneficiaries and then make sure that you put in the young ones who are really actually dependent on you. You give them the greater part of your pension when you are doing the distribution. Then those ones who say contribute for less than 5 years, remember I answered it, somebody asked the same question. We have what we call the old age lump sum ready for you. At the age of 55 years, you can decide to come for your money where you have contributed for less than the 10 years. But if hopefully you are able to come back and contribute for another 5 years before you attain the age of 60, you can now enjoy the pension, of which that is the main aim of the scheme, not to pay people lump sum, of which it will be difficult for them to live on that lump sum. Whilst you have the monthly pension ready for you for lifetime or till you die, it is always better to be on pension. So for less than 10 years, you have the old age lump sum ready for you. Your money is still safe with us. At age 55 to 60, you can decide to come and then we do the computation for you. Now we have the online service as they actually asked. We have one for the individual and then we have the other one also for the employer. The one for the individual, that is where you need to get to register to get with our SSNIT. We call it the SSNIT web portal. Then you will be given a password. Once you have the password, then you have access to our website. Our website is www.SSNIT at snit.org.gh. www.snit.org.gh. That is where, when we are able to get your portal ID, then with a password, you can access that one. Once you get there, you can view your statement of account at any time T. Once you are there, you can also initiate an update of any information. Then we'll pick it up and then we enable you to do the necessary. You can see your best 3 years salary there. You can see the number of months that you have contributed towards the scheme. You can see your past credit as we have just also discussed. All these things that we are getting, you can benefit when you have a direct access to the SSNIT website. And then even to the extent that you can even print the statement yourself, since you can do that under the comfort of your office, house, wherever that you find yourself. This online service will enable you to do that. So you can initiate the change of your beneficiary from there. Then when every information is gotten, we only invite you. You just only take the thumbprint at the office. Then you are good to go. You don't waste time when you get back to complete that one. Then we have the other one also for the employers. So it will enable the employer also to do 3 initiations. The employer enrollment initiation, where you have an establishment that you want to register, you can do that initiation from there. Where you have employees that you need to be registered, you can initiate that one. That's what we call the employee enrollment initiation. Then that one, we can also make sure that at the end of the day, we're able to complete. Then you want to do a survivor's benefit application, where you are entitled to some benefits. You can also start the initiation from there. The employers, in the same vein, can submit their contribution reports to us through our online service. Then we can validate it and then we send back your payment advice to the employer. The employer can also decide to pay through any of our partner banks. It is allowed to do that once your contribution report submitted has been validated and the payment advice returned to the employer. He can then meet any of our partner banks and then make sure that he makes the payment. But if he or she chooses to join us at our offices, he can also do that. Then the pensioners can also know their payment history. When we started paying your pension and then up to when we have paid, you can also know whether your pension payment has also been paid. That is what you can get on the SSNIT online self-service for yourself. You can do all these things on your own so that it will save you time, the cost of getting to the SSNIT office. You can do that under the comfort. So please, if you want to join, just get to any of our state office and get the web portal, and then you get your ID and then SSNIT password so that you can do that under the comfort of your house. For national service, is no, remember I said we are talking about a worker where there's an employer and employee relationship. For national service, you are paid only allowance. You are not paid salary. Remember, we said that the contribution rate will be applied on your basic salary, So national service, please, I'm afraid no, but we hope that sooner or later, when you get employed, ensure that from day one, the very first month, your contribution starts coming because it's your right. So quickly do that. Then GES has done 8 years. With the 8 years, if you are self-employed, you can get back to SSNIT and continue with your contribution and will be registered as a voluntary contributor. Then, if finally you are not able to continue with your contribution, then, like I said, at the age of 55, 56, even up to 60, you can decide to come for what we call the old age lump sum, because your 8 years contribution was not able to qualify you for the minimum pension with a contribution period of 15 years or equivalent to 180 months. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edmund. Okay, so we'll take a few more questions. We won't be able to take every question. So for those of you who we are not able to get to, put your questions in the chat, at least while we're speaking, so that we can follow up, whether it's with Edmund or Kojo, and then get you your responses. So I'll take questions from Francis. Francis, you can unmute yourself. Then Adjoa, you've put your question in the chat and we've responded. So I'll then move to Enoch and then Huawei. So Francis, please go ahead.
Okay, my question goes for SSNIT. I want to ask, for me, I've almost gotten to close to that 180 as we stand now. And now I want to ask, what happened to the remaining one, the remaining contribution, once they say they have reduced? So can I voluntarily go to pension at the age of maybe 37? That's my question.
Edmund, you can go ahead. Me.
Hello.
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Go ahead.
He is talking about this at the age of 37.
Yeah, because I'm
remember
almost there.
The qualifying conditions. You contribute for a minimum of 180 months, and
I'm
then
almost there.
Of 60 for full pension, or 55 to 59 for a reduced pension. So at 37, my brother, you have still more years ahead of you to continue contributing towards the scheme. And remember, like I said, after the 180 months contribution, each year you get 1.125% to add to your pension right, which at the end of the day is going to enhance your pension. So my brother, exercise patience, continue to contribute and try as much as possible to get to where we are now, so that together we'll be able to enjoy. We want to give you a meaningful pension. So please don't be in a hurry to retire at the age of 37 once you've been able to do the 180 months. I hope that is clear.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Edmund. Okay, we'll take, I think, 2 more questions. Enoch, please unmute yourself, and then Felix, please unmute yourself.
I want to find out whether employers are mandated by law to pay the tiers 2 and 3 for their employees. If yes, what should one do if the employees are not paying it, though they are paying the SSNIT tier 1? Then secondly, can a worker voluntarily pay their tiers 2 and 3 if the employers are not doing so. Thank you.
Thank you, Enoch. Edmund, can you just confirm that you heard the question before I take the next one?
Yeah, I think the guy is so safe with tier 1. His problem has to do with tier 2 and tier 3. So over to you, Databank. Kojo, CEO, take it up.
So wait, let me just take one more question and then I'll get Kojo to step in. Philip, I see your hand, both your physical hand and your virtual hand. So, okay, I'll do Felix and then I'll do Philip. All right, let's just take a few questions. So Felix,
Yeah.
what's your question?
Yes, my name is Felix, and what I want to find out about the SSNIT contribution. I am currently in Germany, and I worked for a little over 2.5 years before I came here to study, and since then, having been employed and having been contributing to SSNIT. And my question is, even though Edmund said that if you haven't contributed up to the minimum number of years that will qualify you for full retirement benefits, you will still receive a lump sum. But my question is, if let's say I come back to Ghana and I don't wish to continue with SSNIT and I want to do my own form of investment towards my retirement, can I make claims to get the contributions I've already made to SSNIT to help me do my own investment towards my retirement, or it has to be there with SSNIT till my own age before I can make claims for that? And I think that's my question. Yeah.
Okay, so can I
Philip,
ask a
go
question?
ahead with your question.
Okay, so just a small, quick one. First of all, I would like to give thanks to Mr. Kojo Addae-Mensah for this fantastic presentation. So actually, I started my investment with Databank, let me say about 10 years ago. I started my first investment with the e-portfolio, and it has really helped me a lot over the period. But I'm addressing my question to Mr. Sampana. So with the calculation he did on the call, I don't know whether he can share that one with us, either personally or as a group, so that we can also follow and then fine tune about how the calculation with the SSNIT is being done. So if he can share that information with us, we'll be very, very glad to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And one second. Michael, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, my question is, I'm a NAPCO trainee who is on allowance. So NAPCO is not paying SSNIT for us, but I have the SSNIT number. So I want to be paying for my SSNIT. How can I pay? And then my second one is to Nene. My greetings to him. I did my national service with him at Trafalgar, and I lost his number, so you should kindly send me his number. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I'm not sure who Nene is, but if he's listening,
Mr.
then...
Thomas Ba, Mr. Thomas Ba.
Ah,
okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I was just relaxing on my side. Forgive me.
Yeah, I did my service with you at Trafalgar.
Oh, I'm a catch. Oh, yes. I can see it. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir.
Thank God. And where are you now?
I'm at Faja to serve.
Oh, I see. So I hope you will not be like me, but still at age 50, still sleeping in my father's house. Otherwise, Kojo and her sweet voice market manager will be laughing at you like they are laughing at you. They'll be using you, you don't know. So hurry up and leave that.
Okay, sir.
Your question, Michael. Okay. 1 second.
So the office give you the number.
All right. I'm gonna just take Cassandra, Mustafa, and Lion, and then we'll answer everything. So Cassandra, please unmute yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, let me commend you all for the good educational program you are hosting today. Fortunately, my time is different from yours, so it's like I'm a little busy here, but I'll make it fast. This one goes to Kojo. Kojo, I heard you talk about MFund, EPAC, and that's Databank. Now, hosting a program for pension, where does pension comes into this for Databank? Do we need to have another account to contribute for our pension there, or we just continue with our MFund or EPAC or whatever other mutual funds you have? My second question will go to Mr. Edward, if that's his name. And thank you, Mr. Edward, for how far God has brought you. I remember Nelson Mandela from prison to president. So being from messenger to manager, I say, good job, congratulations. Now, Mr. Edward, my question to you will be that if you're not based back home, which is Ghana, and you want to contribute, which will be voluntary contribution, what will be the minimum that you would advise, at least minimum that you advise to be contributed into the voluntary fund? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cassandra. So then I've got Lion. Please unmute yourself and ask your question, I think.
Good evening.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I am KOB, and my question goes to Mr. Edmund. I want to know, my company is paying the both tier 2 and 3 as well. And I want to know if it's possible for me to request for a change, that is for me to change from where they are having my tier 2 and to maybe another bank, if it's possible.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. So your question is, you want to know if it's possible to actually get who is managing your tier 2 changed?
Yes, exactly.
All right, so we'll get answers to that.
Okay.
So I will, okay, so Kojo will step in and answer your question and also the question about voluntary contribution to tier 2 and 3. Okay, start with that.
Okay, if I recall, there was the first question towards me was where Edmund said the person is happy with tier 1, so tier 2 and 3. The issue is that tier 2 is also a statutory deduction and not a voluntary deduction. So your employer, in the same mode they are transferring money for tier 1, must necessarily be doing the 5% for tier 2. That whatever software that is being used, even if it's Excel, once it does the 13.5 on your for tier 1, it must automatically also do the 5% for tier 2, giving a total of 18.5, which is split across. So there's nothing like voluntary within tier 1 and 2. It's just that for tier 2, the trustee is a private sector corporate trustee licensed by the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. And then there's a fund manager that the corporate trustee, or there are various fund managers that a corporate trustee would use in managing those funds. It is tier 3 that then becomes voluntary. So that one, I think a question came up which said, if the employer is not doing it, can the employee themselves do it? The answer is a yes. The employee can voluntarily go in and try and do a tier 3 for themselves. Just that they will then need to either talk to it, because it has to go through a trustee. But if you come to us, we can work it out for you and get an appropriate trustee for you. It's just that because your employer is not supporting, it's rare for you to get all the way up to the 16.5. I mean, if your salary is quite high, that's fine. But depending on what you are living on, sometimes it's kind of difficult. So the tier 3 is voluntary. You need to have a conversation with your employer to also support. If the employer is not willing, they are not obliged by law. But you can go ahead. You can come and visit us, and we can go ahead and have you invest in a tier 3. The last lady.
Then she wanted to know about
Okay, so what it is we are doing here, ma'am, is an education seminar right now. But I wouldn't say that we have a specific product that we would say is for pensions. No, but with all our 5 products, we tag a message around each of them. So for M Fund, we tag it as an emergency fund. For B Fund, we tag it as your long-term retirement fund. For ARC Fund, we tag it as your balanced ethical fund, because if you look at ARC Fund, we don't invest in stocks of breweries, ammunitions, etc. Then EDI Fund is also tagged as your educational fund, and then EPAC is tagged as your long-term fund. But it doesn't matter which fund you decide to use for your retirement package. Actually, if you are sophisticated and disciplined enough, you can decide to spread your risk across all the 5, or you can decide that you use only M Fund, or you use only B Fund or EDI Fund. Whichever one you decide is okay for you, depending on your risk appetite and the time frame you have. You can just pick any product. So it doesn't matter which product you decide to use to meet your objective. Indeed, there are some people who just go and invest in treasury bills for their retirement purposes. So they have a fixed amount of money that they will put into a treasury bill for the purposes of their retirement. So it all depends on yourself, what it is you want to achieve and what risk appetite you have.
Whether I stay here or I don't.
All right, Edmund, the remaining questions are for you.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, hi. So, yeah, there were about 4 questions for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Felix from Germany, that are 2.5 years. Once again, when you come down, it's at the age of 55 that you can now assess your contribution. I think it's like the other one. Then one was also asking the computation of the pension slide. It can easily be shared. So at the end of the program, Databank, you can pick it up and then share with the participants, so that I also leave my personal number in case they have any challenges. They can call, and at least we do justice. We offer those expert services for free, as we are doing now. So it can be shared. Then the NAPCO, please, I'm sorry, you receive allowances for that matter. And you know, it was clear that NAPCO is not going to attract any SSNIT deduction. So you only receive allowance unless you are self-employed and you decide to contribute towards the scheme. Because when you come, you have to be registered as a voluntary contributor, and you need to state your occupation, whatever that you do to earn an income, because the contribution rate will be applied on your earned income. Then to, I think, Cassandra, thank you for reminding me that it's only Ghana that we have M2M. At least we also have we used to have another one, South Africa, from prisoner to president. So I'm happy that you have reminded me to link mine also to learn something from the late President Mandela. He's someone I really love to listen to, especially a lot of his quotes are really inspiring. So thanks. From the way you went about, then it means that you're also really inspired. And I want to encourage those who are yet to start. Especially I've been telling my staff that you started with a degree as a senior officer. So I expect you not to leave the trust as not joining the management team. You need to go far. Look at where I started. I started from the valley and I find myself on the mountain top. You started at the edge of the mountain. And if at the end of the day, we don't see you at the top. So please, I wish to see you guys at the top. The young ones who are listening to me, I'm so happy for those of you who have joined to learn. We all started learning. Any opportunity that we get, we seek the opportunity to take advantage to learn. So KOB changing tier 2 is possible. So I believe it escaped CEO. If you are not interested, or if your tier 2 company is not doing well, it is allowed to change your tier 2. And I'm sure your tier 2 company, if it's not doing well, I can recommend Databank for you. So for Madam Cassandra, who is outside the country, if you want to be a member, unless you calm down, we need to know the kind of job that you do so that you earn an income from it. And then the minimum salary is just 302. And that is, sorry, 320, I'm sorry, 320, that is the minimum salary in Ghana for now. So if you want to, and I believe you can do more than that, and if it is not possible, I recommend the Databank again, once again to you, where you can remit all your funds from outside the country to join the Databank. And I believe at the end of the day, you'll never regret. So I think there's a doctor on the line who wants to know my number. Dr. Andrews, the name is Edmund, and some have been saying Edward. But in other words, I wish always to be called Sampi. I prefer Sampi to Edmund. So that is, the number is 0244 815 720. 0244 815 720. And like I also gave the other number, the SSNIT number, 0302 611 622. 0302 611 622. Or you can still go on our website, www.snit.org.gh. For those of you outside the country, the English people, you will say World Wide Web. But for us, www means Wunimwa, no Wunimu. So SSNIT will know you people, get to us, and we'll get all your questions answered. Thank you very much.
I like that. I've never heard Wunimwa, no Wunimu. Let me add quickly about the change in fund manager.
That's it.
Martin, there's a Martin, you know. I would like to add on the change of fund manager at tier 2 and 3. It's not an individual decision. And if you are an individual and you get interested in what is happening in your tier 2 and 3 at the firm, and you're not happy, there's an engagement you have to have with, in some companies is the head of HR, in others is the finance, in some is both, in some companies is a whole committee. In unionized companies too, it's the unions who also have a say. It varies, but you have to sit with the corporate trustee to ask. Some trustees don't use only one fund manager. In fact, most of them use at least 2 fund managers because some are better than others, or they use it to manage their risk. So maybe you can, I wouldn't advocate that you go and remove a fund manager. I won't be happy if I'm a fund manager of a certain pension trust and then I'm removed. So I don't advocate for removal. You can go and say, look here, we had a session with Databank. We feel they're professional, they're proactive, And if they are not part of the fund managers, we want you to add them as fund managers. That I'll be happy about. But don't go agitating too much for removal unless the fund manager is really poor and is not doing the right thing. I also promise to come back on the tier 3 minimum years of contribution. If you are in the formal sector, to take full advantage of the tax relief there, you must contribute for a minimum of 10 years. And if you are in the informal sector, because the percentage is much, much higher, your minimum is 5 years. So that's what I'd like to say before we go off.
You can withdraw.
So, Kojo, thank you very much. Edmund, thank you very much. To wrap up, anybody, we didn't get to every single question, but we've been on for several hours now. So in the interest of time, would just like to close it. Send us your question in the chat, and then we'll get the answer for you. Edmund also gave out his number, and he has invited you to call him, or rather Sampi gave out his number and wants you to call him, or feel free to call him with your question. So the numbers he shared was, his number was 0244 815 720. I believe I hope I got it correctly. And then the main SSNIT number was 0302 611 622. So two quick giveaways. One is for 100 CD gift voucher. 100 CD gift voucher if you can answer the following question. And so the question is, oh, actually, can everybody lower their hands, please, just so that we start with a clean slate. Okay, so the question is, what percentage of your salary goes into tier 1 and what percentage goes into tier 2? And in all fairness to people who have been in the past ones and won, then I would like to choose somebody who we haven't chosen at all. So George, you've been here before. Apenteng, you've been here before. Yeah, I don't think you answered any questions. I think you only answered a question. So let me start with you. George and Apenteng, forgive me, but I just want to spread the love a little bit, please. So yeah, what is the percentage that of your salary that should go into tier 1 and into tier 2?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, for the tier 1 is 13.5 and the tier 2 is 5%.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, yeah. So I'll reach out to you in the chat. Next, so if everyone can lower their hands.
Wait.
If everyone can please lower their hands. And then the next question, oh yeah, one second, I need you to lower your hand. Ebenezer, lower your hand. Okay, so the next question is, oh, I've lost my question, sorry. What are the 3 things that are used to calculate your pension payout? So what are the 3 things that go into that calculation? And it was covered in the presentation from Edmund. So we'll start with Nana Ansa. So the 3 things that are used to calculate your pension. Please unmute yourself. Nana, are you able to unmute yourself? Okay. So what are the 3 things?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
So your best 3 the average of your best 3 salaries,
Mm-hmm.
the number of years you've contributed,
Yes.
and then when you are retired, you decide to retire, that is early retirement or normal. Yes.
Okay, well done. Sam P, I think he's correct based on your slides. So, Nana, you've just won a 100 CD gift voucher as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
We will get in touch with you. So
Thank you very much.
yes, so just send us a message in the chat. And then I have one more 100 CD gift voucher. One last one. So, all right, 1 second. Oh, okay.
I think we need to have put our hands together for the participants. They are all answering your questions correctly.
They are.
I'm really happy with the participants.
Okay, so the last question, so I need everybody to lower their hands, please. Okay, still waiting on the hands to go down. Please, please, please. Okay, and then the, no, wait. Okay, so last question is, and it's in 2 parts. So part 1 of the question is, what is the minimum number, so the minimum contribution period to qualify for pension benefits from SSNIT? That's part A. So minimum contribution period. And then the second part of the question is, what percentage of your salary can be contributed to tier 3 of the pension scheme if you are 1, a formal worker, and 2, an informal worker? This one is actually worth 150, sorry, not 100. That's why it's so difficult. So 3 things. 1, minimum number of months that you need to contribute, percentage salary that is contributed to tier 3 if you're a formal worker, and then if you're an informal worker. We'll start with Ayedoku. I don't think I pronounced your name very well, but please go ahead.
It's actually yeah.
Okay, Aye, sorry.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. The minimum number of years we're given was 180 months, which is equivalent to 50 years.
Okay.
Right. And then for the formal workers were supposed to have 16.5% of their basic salary, and then informal workers would have 35% of their income. I believe that answers the question.
It does. Very, very, very well. So you've just gotten the 150 CD gift voucher. So thank you all very, very much for participating.
So much. Thank you. Wow, you just made my evening.
Won't spend, invest. So just we'll reach out to you, but send us a quick message.
I believe the giveaways will make it worthwhile.
Yes, send us a message in the chat, please. Guys, thank you all very much for hanging in there. I just want to say thank you on behalf of the speakers and on behalf of Databank for participating. We wish you all a very good day. And there's one more session tomorrow. So if you know of someone who you think would benefit from participating, please do let them know. And we'll be here same time tomorrow, 2 p.m. And that is the last session. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.